can tell us what to do. You think you can tell us how to game. You think that you're famous, well you better get ready. Bowser's Last Castle. Take it down. Regenerate into podcast fools. We just got tired of the other hosts acting like tools. Hey, those are my toys. Retro power, little man. Take it down. Regeneration. Action.
Hello, everyone, and stay tuned for the most unwoke, unfiltered, uncensored, politically incorrect, absolutely toxic to anyone who is even slightly libtarded. The following transmission is officially rated X. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new most based podcast on the fucking internet. My name is Jimbo from Retro Game Lounge. That is Chris from CM Retro Gaming. Ladies and gents, this is the Regeneration X podcast. We are here to save podcasting from libtardation. Chris and Jimbo are here to pull things back from the fucking edge because some of the other podcasts and the circles that we run in, they're kind of skirting that line where they're trying to be on the fucking right side of history, but they're just not quite getting there. And we are here to fucking course correct. Chris, my fucking man, this is actually the first time, other than the previous 10 minutes or so, that Chris and I have actually talked. We've been talking like, you know, on chat and stuff like that for a while. We've been planning to do this for months, to say the very least. And it's just been one thing after another. Like the holidays come up, we both have families, you know, Chris is busy, I'm busy. I got a terrible fucking cold that I've been battling. You'll probably still hear I'm a little bit nasally, that my wife was kind enough to pass off to me, that I've been fighting for like the last 2 weeks. I was going to power through it last weekend, but my voice completely fucking went out. And I'm like, God damn it. Like I told Chris I was going to do this, but I knew that I could not be on here giving you guys 100% like I've always done with everything on YouTube. If I'm like constantly hacking up snot and blowing my nose and shit like that, that's just not a good thing. So I'm like, all right, let me at least get to the point where I can speak and give you guys a good showing. And Chris has just been a fucking saint and just be like, yeah, man, no problem. I'm just like, It got me to like go back to your profile constantly. Like, is Chris Canadian? Like, I had to wonder that several times because he's so nice. Like, you're right near Canada, so it's like, you know, you're like sharing a border with him. But like,
yeah, we're Canada adjacent here in Ohio. I guess we would say.
You are.
But, yeah, man. Listen, life intervenes. There's things that you can't control. You know, you got family stuff, holiday stuff. You get sick, then the kids get sick. But you know what? All good things to those who wait, my brother.
Absolutely. And as we were fucking talking right before, we were just kind of powwowing about everything and kind of joking between ourselves that, you know, like what we just told you guys, how just kind of one thing after another has been trying to derail this podcast, almost like the fucking universe just doesn't want us to do it, which just makes me want to do it more. And in the meantime, it just seems like every day, and Chris and I talk pretty regularly where we're just kind of trading news stories and shit every day. Like we're just getting banger headline after banger headline. I'm just like, maybe this isn't a bad thing. Like we're just, the universe is like throwing us bones that we can talk about on this podcast from every direction, from politics to, you know, mainstream news to, you know, what's going on in Minnesota to video games to movies, like just every fucking which way, man. I'm like, God damn, dude, this first episode, I'm worried it's going to be all downhill after this because there's so much that we have to cover on this. You know, I mean, it's just like, God, like, I hope the universe keeps this up because we got a lot of good stuff to get through tonight, guys. But before we jump like too far into it, I just want to kind of lay the groundwork between Chris and myself as far as what you can expect from the Regeneration X podcast. Like, it's all kind of right there in the title, but we're just glazed over. You know, it says games, movies, news, roasts. So what does that mean? Chris, I'll tell you what, I've been yapping a fucking ton here, man. Like, what is your aim for this podcast? Then I'll jump in.
Yeah, so you know, we're both from that same generation, cut from the same cloth, right? Born in like the 70s, grew up in the 80s and the 90s, had the family thing going in the 2000s, probably got back into gaming somewhere around 2005, 2010, the rise of YouTube and all that stuff. And there are a lot of people that are in our shoes that are a little conservative, but not like crazy conservative, right? We're reasonable conservatives here. We play the same games. We watch the same movies. We all have different memories and thoughts about how we grew up, where we grew up, when we grew up, and all of these different like various things of media. And we're getting to live our dreams right now, man. I'm so blessed to have all this stuff and have a great family and a great job and all that stuff. But the world isn't as simple as it was back in 1990. We've got some real problems in our world. We need to talk about those, we will, and we'll address problems on our side as well if we need to. But really what we're doing here is, man, we are sharing our love for all of the things that we grew up with, and we're adding in a little politics to go with it.
Facts. Dude, wow. How do I follow that? Shit. Did you rehearse that? Because we did not talk about that. Like I'm not gaslighting you. I'm
a professional broadcaster.
God. All right. Yeah. I'm just gonna echo that, man, and say, like, yeah, like we're definitely cut from very similar cloth here, man. Like the whole, like the name obviously comes from our mutual love of like the Attitude Era, the greatest fucking era of wrestling ever. Fight me. And why they're not back at that right now is just a true mystery to me. Like I just don't understand it, when it's just like, it's simple math. Like their ratings, they were literally the biggest thing on television. They were like the Walking fucking Dead, dude. Like everyone in the world was watching this shit, and now they're just like, well, we don't really need to do that anymore. Like we're fine with where they are. It's like, do you just not want to succeed? Like what is it, dude? Like, and now Triple H is running the show. Like, bro, you were fucking DX, man. Like you were leading the charge of the Attitude Era. Like you, Stone Cold, The Rock, like Mick Foley, you guys were the class that fucking took this thing to the top. Like, what am I missing here, man? Like, this shouldn't be a hard sell.
Especially coming out of like, that 80s, gimmick wrestling, and then they tried to go into the new generation, and that just it wasn't working, man. It just wasn't working. Nope. They had to counter WCW's NWO angle. They were getting a little attitude, a little bite. So WWF came out and they did their attitude angle, and it worked. It did gangbusters. And then after that, man, they started this PG era stuff. And I'm not going to say all of it's bad. There's some highlights to it, of course. But, man, it's just very bland and vanilla. And my take on the new wrestling is that, everybody wants to dress in black. Everybody wants to be the anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really wants to do, like, really good character work. Like, they're capable of doing the in-ring, and most of them are capable of being, like, okay at promo. But that, think of Chris Jericho's character development throughout his career. You know what I mean? So I just don't see people doing that anymore. They'd rather just jump ship and go to AEW. I'm all in AEW, something like that. But it was a different era there in the mid to late 90s in WWF. Because it was you still had kayfabe, and you still had a us versus them mentality, almost like it was like there was two territories left: the Vince McMahon territory, and then the Jim Crockett Promotions, which of course Turner bought, and so it was must see TV. I remember I was in high school during that era, flipping back and forth on Monday nights, man, not even paying attention to the Monday night football game. And I love sports, but yeah, what's the NWO doing? Going back over here, and Rock's cutting a promo and he's doing the eyebrow thing. It's crazy.
Dude, the Monday Night War, like probably the greatest battle in the history of television. Like it's the only thing I could think of that even comes close to that. And I'm not a huge sports guy, but like I did grow up in this era. Would be like Celtics versus Lakers. Like it was just like the fucking rivalry between these two guys, like Sega versus Nintendo. Like this was as hot as it fucking gets, man. And then WCW starts losing some of their talent. You mentioned Chris Jericho. Like, dude, the greatest episode of Raw ever, in my opinion, is when Chris Jericho fucking showed up, because we all knew what was happening. Like it wasn't a secret. Like, people, it's buzzing around. This is like kind of the dawn of the internet, like in the late 90s, like early 2000s. He's the Millennium Man. So it's like the year 2000, late 99. And everyone's just like, what's this fucking Millennium Clock? And they're like, then we like, people do the math. They're like, oh, his contract is up such and such. And like, this is the day after that. And we're like, oh, it's Chris Jericho. And he comes out from WCW to Monday Night Raw with the biggest fucking pop you've ever heard in your entire life. Not even facing the crowd, arms out. Everyone knows who it is. And the place just fucking explodes, dude. And he opens with "Welcome to Raw" as Jericho.
New entrances in Raw history, because he had the clock, and then it was counting down, and it was making that very distinct sound. And then it was like the ball got absorbed into the thing, and then the fireworks and the break the walls down, and the silhouette of Jericho doing the arms extended, and then the camera cut from the Titantron to Jericho standing there doing that same pose. And like you said, the pop was unbelievable.
It was just unreal, dude. Like, I watched it a few months ago just to see if it holds up. Fucking straight goosebumps. Like, I was like, dude, I lived through the greatest era of this fucking sport ever. Like, this was the fucking peak. Like, this was as good as it could possibly ever be when there was so much hype. I mean, like, for those outside the wrestling thing, this would be like peak Celtics getting like James Worthy from the fucking Lakers. Like, I mean, it was that level of shit where they're getting one of their top talents.
For sure. And I'll say one thing about that entrance that WWF did right. They did not waste that entrance for Chris Jericho to come down and beat up a jobber. They ran that intro, got that pop with The Rock standing right in the middle of the ring.
Yeah. And it's like,
because that's you're here. You're a top talent. You're an high echelon guy right off the bat, like day one, So they weren't even gonna work him into it and throw him a couple mid carders and then push him. It was right off the bat. You're gonna be a top guy.
Yeah, we're waiting for these two to get on the mic and spar, basically, and it didn't disappoint because Rock comes in with like, it doesn't matter what your name is. That was like the genesis of that, and we're all laughing our fucking asses off. So that was like that was it. So that was that the reason we're bringing this up, guys, is Chris and I were going back and forth for weeks, like trying to come up with a name for the podcast. And like some of the ones we came up with in hindsight were fucking hilarious, to be perfectly honest. And then like out of the blue one night, like Chris is talking about wrestling, then we're talking about DX and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, like Regeneration X, like it just fucking hit me like a bolt of lightning. I was like, that's the name. Like that says everything I want to say. And I'm like, I don't know why, but that's it. Like, we're trying to regenerate this thing that we think is going off the fucking rails. It speaks to our mutual love for Attitude Era wrestling. We're both from, that fucking generation that just doesn't give a fuck, like the last fucking punk rock generation. Like that's doesn't know what woke is. We don't understand like, oh God, I'm offended or what. So fucking what? Like, I mean, like we were kind of like the fucking like the threshold keepers of that, and like everything after us kind of went downhill. Like it's we look at this and we're like, what happened? Like we don't understand why young people are so damn easily offended, because you look at the stuff that bothers them, and a couple guys like us think back to our childhood and we're like bro, this wouldn't even result in like a fist fight. Like, I mean, we'd probably be laughing at the guy who said it and laughing at the guy he was talking about. Like, it's so what? I mean, like that bothers you? Like, really? Like, it must be so hard letting your feelings run your life like that. Like, that's gotta be exhausting.
Yeah. It's almost like they're offended by everything. So they can then, posture themselves to be some type of victim.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work, because it's like, well, I'm offended that you're offended. Now I'm the victim. Now what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, back in we used to play a game called Smear the Queer.
Yeah.
If we tried to do that today, people would lose their minds.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It was really just a game of keep away. That's really all it was. But yeah, it was called Smear the Queer. Like, whoever had the ball was the queer, and you push that fucker into the goddamn dirt. Like, that was the objective of the game. So Mr. Pingen joining us here in the chat. Jericho's entrance went wild, bro. That was like, it was so good, dude.
Yeah, it's one of the most memorable entrances
my God.
Monday Night Raw.
So history. All right, so I don't think I've told you this, Chris. Like, I've told this story on previous podcasts, and I've told on the RGL Facebook page, but since you just started following it today, I don't think you'd be privy to this because I did a big post about this. Okay. So when the WWE got their entire back catalog, excuse me, uploaded to it's now on Netflix, but when I found this, it was on Peacock. So you had like the entire history of Raw, like from the beginning, like every single fucking episode.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
And then I was like, okay, I was like, there's a particular episode that I have to find because this one is special to me. There's a few people in my inner circle who knew this about me, but this is not something I shared openly. Chris, yours truly was on an Attitude Era episode of Monday Night Raw, and I can now prove it. So
date and time.
I have it written down. It's on the RGO Facebook page. I will get it to you, I promise, because I actually put up the video. Like I pulled out my cell phone and I like a total fucking boomer, like recorded my screen of me. So I'm actually in 2 different shots. You can see me just barely when they're actually inside the arena. It was at what was it? I think it was Verizon Center, I think is what it was at the time. It's a big arena in downtown DC. That's where I grew up, right outside of DC. And we had really fucking good seats, man. Like we weren't on the floor, but we were on the very bottom row of the lower concourse, right next to the Titantron. Like the closest row to, if you're coming out, like if you're the wrestler coming out and the Titantron's above you and you're facing the ring, I would have been right to your left. So you can see us very briefly during, I think it's fucking what the hell was their name? What was it? Master 2 Sexy and Scotty 2 Hottie.
Oh yeah, Grandmaster Sexy and Scotty 2 Hottie.
What was their name, or did they have a name?
It was Too Cool, and then later they joined Rikishi, and Brian Christopher was actually Jerry Lawler's son.
Yes. So it was when Too Cool was coming out. You can see us very briefly, but here's where it gets interesting. So earlier that day, same day, so we went to Raw that night. We went to go. We were in DC to get our China Playboys signed by China. So we got to meet her in person. She was actually really nice. Like she was.
What I've heard about her.
Joni, rest her soul. She was really sweet. Fucking dude, she was fucking diesel, man. Like, whoa, that's like the most jack chick I've ever seen. So we were there for that. And then while we're doing this, we get word that some of the wrestlers are actually over on Capitol Hill because this is when they were trying to get Bush and Gore to do a debate on Raw. And I think Jesse Ventura was going to moderate it. I think like they were trying to get involved with voting and shit. And they were trying to get the candidates down, like vote 2000, yada, yada, yada. So like a lot of the fucking A-listers, including The Rock, are on Capitol Hill. And they're kind of doing this thing where they're saying like President Bush, Mr. Gore, it's like, if you're saying you don't want to appear on Raw, that just means you must not care about all these people who are watching the show, who are voters, by the way. So, excuse me, we're hauling ass to get over there because it started like the line for the China signing was like really fucking long. And we got to run like 10 blocks, to get over there because we don't have a car at this point. We took the metro into DC and shit. So the thing already started. So we're already getting there late. And we just get there in time. And I caught The Rock right as he was leaving. He was actually walking out to the limo. And he slapped me fucking 5 as he was going in. That guy's fucking huge, man. Like, I mean, this was like.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He wasn't like Black Adam or anything back then. He was in like a wrestling shape. And I was like, God, that is a fucking large man. So didn't get to hang with him much. But we did get to hang out for quite a while. I'm about to make you really fucking jealous, dude. And I don't mean like hang out like, oh, they're on stage and we're back here. I'm talking we're all sitting at the same fucking table kind of hanging out with the Hardy Boys, Lita, and Al Snow, who is hilarious, by the way. Al is a funny motherfucker, man. Like, seriously. So
yeah, I think he's still up here running OVW.
He is. He's from Lima, Ohio. Yeah.
Doing something like that.
Have you seen what he looks like at 60?
He's pretty.
He's fucking jacked. He is in better shape now than he was when he was a wrestler. It's insane. It's like he's aging in reverse, like he's a fucking vampire or something. So, okay, so how does this relate to me being on Raw? Okay, so we're talking with the Hardy Boys and stuff, and like Jeff, I remember being super quiet. Matt was pretty talkative. Lita was really fucking chill, and she was actually really chatty, and she and I are sitting there talking and everything. And dude, I'm like 19 or 20 years old at this point. You know, like I'm prime of my youth. I'm single. Like this is one of the most attractive women I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Like in person, at least, where I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like I feel like an idiot. Like can't get the words out. So she's sitting there signing an autograph for me, which I still have, by the way. And I knew there were cameras running around because I figured they were filming like for segments for Raw and shit. I honestly don't remember seeing the camera guy right next to me. I guess because I was so dialed in on, So
vision, baby.
Yeah, I mean, again, dude, like 19, 20, fucking peak testosterone. Like I'm exactly what a young man should be doing. I'm out there chasing girls. So we go to Raw, and while we're there, they bring up onto the Titantron. It's like in between segments. And they're just like, earlier today on Capitol Hill, me and my guys were like, oh, bro, we were fucking there, man. How about that shit? And then like it's showing like The Rock talking, it's showing Al Snow talking and everything. And then the camera kind of pans over and you see yours truly with my eyes locked on fucking Lita's rack. And she's sitting there signing it. Yeah, I'm like totally busted, like on live television. And my buddies are just laughing their asses off. They're like, dude, you were checking out Lita's tits on fucking Raw. And I was just like, I'm not paying for drinks for the rest of the night, am I? They're like, you're damn straight you're not, bro. You're a fucking legend, man. So that is on the episode. Like it's all there. And you can see me in the 20-year-old version of me, still at the backwards hat and shit, like fucking Limp Bizkit motherfucker. A lot fucking skinnier. And it's all there, like for all time. So like that's my one claim to fame, bro, is I am on one singular episode of Attitude Era Raw. It's like I get to show my kid that someday, man, when he's old enough. He's only 14
daddy,
months old.
But
like,
here's wallows. For sure.
Yes. So that I've been looking forward to telling you that story. I was actually holding this for the podcast because I knew you of all people would appreciate it. So I will make sure you get the episode. It's on the RGL Facebook page, where I just kind of pan back and forth between me. I was just like, who's that? So it's all there. Hey man, that was a watershed moment. Probably the best part of my late youth. Like, transitioning from teenager to 20 something, like that was probably the high point, I would say. Mr. Pingett says none of us would blame you with Lita. I mean,
yeah, right.
Frankie's like, it's Lita, for God's sake. Oh my God. Al Snow is using maces, sandbags, and clubs. Wow. He's going old school, I guess. That's awesome. All right. So
Benoit in 2002.
Who's saying that?
In Boston.
Oh, let me put that on screen. I met Chris Benoit in 2002 at a festival concert in Boston. That's awesome.
So I know what he did was bad, like really bad.
Very.
But do you put him in the Hall of Fame?
Yes. No contest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's dude, I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame too, because it's like, all right, did he kind of break the rules by betting on shit? Yeah, but does that take away any of the fucking skill that guy had? No, it doesn't. Like, what you get in the Hall of Fame is about how much talent did you actually have? Like, it's about your competency level in the game. Like, to me, like, I'm not going to say morality absolutely doesn't matter, but he was whacked out of his fucking mind on steroids, and his testosterone was like as high as a fucking bull shark, dude. He was basically on like meth.
And all those bumps. I mean, he had severe brain damage.
He did.
You know what I mean?
He was not a sane person.
At that point, he's probably not even himself.
No.
You know what I mean? It's temporary insanity, or some of these people have dementia that go out and do crazy things. It's just,
dude, absolutely. It's I think in that particular instance, I think Benoit gets a pass because, like you said, Dude, brain trauma is real, guys. Like, it's something that a lot of people do not take seriously enough. Like, I'll pull from, I guess, our colleague now, since we're podcasters, Joe Rogan, who's been one of the loudest voices in the room about that. Like, people need to take this seriously because he's seen it firsthand. Guys at the UFC who kind of overstay their welcome, and it's like guys like Chuck Liddell who very obviously have head trauma, and it's obviously affecting their ability not just to perform as an athlete, but just to function as a human.
Yeah,
Like,
their cognitive motor skills are just so diminished. I mean,
yeah,
you're looking at like how old was Benoit? Was he 40 almost? Was he like
he was about 40-ish, I think, when he died.
you're looking at this 40-year-old man who probably has the mental cognitive ability of like a 90-something-year-old with dementia. Like
Facts.
he doesn't really know, and it's just
No.
sad.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, he after that, Benoit was sort of, well, they attempted to erase him as if he never existed in WWF and in WCW, after the merger, and Vince got all the WCW product, and it's like, yeah, that's just, I don't know. Sometimes I have mixed feelings about it. There are some things that you can't do, but at the same time, Moolah did some bad stuff as well. She was running girls and pimping them out. That's terrible.
Facts.
So should she not be in the Hall of Fame?
It's going to be debated to the end of time, but like, my vote, if it's up to me, my vote is he gets in, because the person that he was when he was doing the deeds that would get him into the Hall of Fame, he wasn't that guy. Like, this was after that, after the severe brain trauma and everything like that. Like, it's the stuff that he did for the sport was when he was a pretty decent person, a good father, etc. So
yeah, and I haven't looked into it. Different sports have different criteria. So like the NFL is, what did you do inside the lines?
Yeah,
that's all they care. That's all they care about. So if you look at Benoit's body of work inside the ring, I mean, first ballot unanimous Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
But if they're doing like baseball is like your character and your play and your stats and all this other stuff. I don't know. I don't know if that's how they judge that. Yeah, Frankie, too sweet. Owen Hart needs to be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
He does. Let's see. What's up, Leg? Oh, what's up, Legs? Love seeing the DX jersey. Hell yeah. Been a while. Had a lot of shit happen the past few years. No worries, man. Good to see you. Yes, I agree. Let's see. Like John Lennon, he was a wife and a kid beater, but he was musically I didn't even think about that connection. Yeah, good point, dude. Wow. We got some really like poignant commentary like going on here.
Yeah.
Terry Reynolds, Steven Richards. Yeah, it's like, dude, anyone who's like tough enough to survive Stu Hart's dungeon, it was basically him and Chris Jericho. Like, they were the only two guys left. Like, dude, you're a bad motherfucker. Like, just, I can't even imagine how bad that was. Like, how bad, like the training and the conditioning, like the literal beatings that these guys had to take just to be like the last two standing, like the last two, diehard Canucks who were just like, I'm not tapping. Like, I'm here to learn and I'm here to become great. And I'm just not going to back down. That's probably why the two of them became such great performers and wrestlers, because they had that level of dedication. So that's just my sense on it. But so now, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the very first time you will get to see what will probably be, I can practically guarantee, a very regular segment on this channel. The first one that Chris and I kind of like came up with here when we were tossing around ideas, and I'm just like, all right, we do roasts and stuff like that. Like that's got to be one of the fucking tenets, one of the pillars of the show. So I'm like, well, what do we call the roast segment? Well, I'm just going to let Mr. Alice Cooper do the talking for us, and then we'll jump into it. So, hey, stupid.
Hey, stupid.
Name. What is the name? Like, what is the like what are we? What is the person that we're going to pick on this week, Chris? I'll let you tell them. How about that?
Well, we're going to talk about one of Jimbo's favorite people in the whole wide world.
How did you guess?
The former journalist, which I love that they refer to him as a former journalist because that absolutely implies that he is no longer a journalist.
He's
Don,
a YouTuber.
the I Touch bartenders in Florida, Lemon.
Yes.
Your guy.
Yes. So, for those of you not up on current events, I'm sure almost all of you have heard about this. Dear Donnie Boy, excuse me, went and did something kind of stupid. And, I mean, if you're like, I guess, you know, it kind of keeps coming back to like the whole Generation X thing where it's like, we knew that if you were going to do something stupid, don't let somebody film it. Like we all just kind of knew that. The reason that we're all probably A, still alive, and B, not in jail is because that shit didn't exist back then. So I know with my my formative years and stuff like that, there'd be a lot of things that I would prefer to not be on video, both embarrassing, but some of them I kind of wish were, because like I would love to watch that again and laugh because that shit was hilarious then. It's probably even more funny now. So, dear Donnie Boy saw fit to follow a bunch of, they call themselves protesters, but in my view, this is not protesting, because it would be protesting if they stayed outside of the building that we're going to talk about. If they just stood out there and shouted and hooted and hollered and held their signs, okay, it's fucking annoying and obnoxious, but it's not illegal. It's fine. It's just being an asshole. You're not being a criminal. They saw fit to go into a church in the middle, a Christian church in the middle of a service, and basically shout down like the preacher, the parishioners, the choir, little kids. And Donnie Boy was right in the middle of this, basically like, you know, trying to pretend he's still a fucking journalist and like people actually give a fuck, and like interview like the pastor and stuff like that, where the pastor is being a lot nicer than I would have been. He's definitely more of a Christian than me. Basically like saying like, we're here to worship, man. Like, you know, this isn't about like politics. Like, we're just here to express our faith. Like this has nothing to do with what you guys are talking about, man. We're just here praising Jesus. Like what gives? And he does eventually ask Don to leave, and Don just like, okay, like, don't touch me. And if you watch the video, he's not touching him at all. Like Don's just making shit up at that point. So obviously, like, there's a large segment of the U.S. population, particularly Christians, and rightfully so, who are just like, yeah, this is not legal, and we want this motherfucker in jail, because what he did is a crime, actually, under what's called the FACE Act. We'll get into that in just a second. I can actually probably kick that over to Chris, since Chris is a professional in that arena. But essentially, I honestly didn't think that he would actually get charged. I was really hoping I was wrong. Like they locked up the main three people, like the big stupid guy, and like he was one of the big gets and everything, and they made several arrests on it. I figured they were probably just going to talk to Don and give him a slap on the wrist and let him go, but I guess I had Pam Bondi pegged wrong, dude, because she got out the warrant that originally got denied, and she fucking massaged some shit and got it worked, and they arrested him anyways, under the FACE Act, which, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, this is where it actually gets kind of funny. So the FACE Act was originally created to stop Christians from praying in front of abortion clinics. Like that was kind of the onus that got the bill moving. So it was being started by Democrats to basically, like, you know, we feel that this is like a kind of aggression and everything. Dude, it's a bunch of little old ladies like sitting there fucking praying. Like these are the most harmless damn people on the face of the earth. You don't have to agree with what they're doing, but they are not posing a threat to you. That's utterly ridiculous. So to get the bill passed, like to get the Republicans to sign off on it, as I understand it, they basically had to throw the Republicans a bone, because they're like, okay, what the fuck are we getting out of this? Like, this is all on you guys' side, and it's protecting your people. What is this doing to protect conservatives? And they're like, well, we'll add an addendum that says, like, you know, you can't protest inside of a church. So that was like a last minute thing, basically, to please conservatives, and because none of that had happened at this point, and Democrats are like, shit, that's never going to happen. Like, who cares? And then look where we are, all the way around the circle of stupid has come all the way back.
Well.
Here we are, and dear old Donnie Boy is facing the consequences of that, when if you watch the video, and I know you have, Chris, I'm sure a lot of you guys tuning in and commenting have as well. He absolutely knew what they were going to do because he said that. He said it in no uncertain terms, like, I can't tell you what we're going to do, but like we're going over to this thing, and we're not, we're getting more like kind of in their face kind of protesting because that's how you get your point across and stuff. He knew what they were going to do, which you're the professional here, Chris. I'm not an authority on law enforcement, but would that not make him at least an accomplice or an accessory?
Yeah, you have to put together a culpable mental state. So usually there's like, did he know? Did he knowingly, purposely, recklessly, or negligently engage in that behavior?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like, and I posted on my Facebook page of him coming out, right? Because obviously he's got the right to bond himself out. He's not really a flight risk. Everybody knows Don Lemon is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And they're asking, like, because inside that church, they went in there and these children were terrified. And the adults thought that there might be an active shooter going on. So that's exactly what we're talking about when we're saying, like, First Amendment, you have a right to lawfully assemble, and you can protest, and you can protest outside in a public space. But once you come into someone's place of worship, you're going to have yourself a problem. And someone brought it up, the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, that was put into place as a piece of civil rights legislation so that the federal government could absolutely step in these states where racism and not hiring black people and all that stuff was still going on. And they could intervene. And part of that was, in your place of worship where you are lawfully allowed to be and assemble, you just can't go in there and disrupt it. The same way I can't go into Walmart and start causing a disruption. Walmart's a public access area. The public is allowed in there. However, once you're in there, you have to abide by their rules. And if you don't, they ask you to leave. And then you don't leave. And then the cops come and they charge you with trespass, right? Knowingly remaining on the land or premise of another without permission to do so. Then you get arrested. So they absolutely knew what they were doing. And they knew that as a Christian church, that the response from the parishioners would probably not be as adversarial as maybe going to a mosque. And it's when I say we as Christians, one of our weakness, our biggest weakness is our tolerance sometimes. The amount of stuff that we put up with, and when we don't address it, when we don't destroy evil, as it were, then we have mobs coming into our places of worship, and this cannot be allowed to happen, and it won't be allowed to happen and continue. But I just want to give you kudos for bringing it up. That AG Bondi, Pam Bondi's been a little docile with these warrants and getting these arrests, but you're absolutely right. The state said, "Oh no, we're not going to charge," and then the federal government said, "Well, we are." So
we're going to charge him.
Finds himself in this situation, and I'm very happy about it.
It is, and I can't help but at least inject a tiny bit of humor into this, where I think about Don Lemon being in jail, and I'm having trouble seeing that as not giving a guy like him a spa day, for lack of a better word. He's not really averse to men standing behind him doing something somewhat nefarious. I'm just saying, he's kind of like, he's acutely like used to that kind of behavior, not like guys like you and me. He's prepared. He's trained for this. He really has, dude.
There you go. He went through the academy.
He did. He understands the assignment. He really fucking does. So, and he knows, like, the first thing he's going to do is what he did in his real life is, he's got everything to say about white people. Then he just like kind of, gets together with one. So he's probably just going to like buddy up with somebody in the fucking Aryan Brotherhood or something. And like, he's going to toe the line because that's what Don Lemon does. So I found that truly hilarious, to say the very least, when I heard this.
It was one of my favorite. We were actually, I was teaching firearms yesterday. We're teaching a tactics package and a pistol course. And it came up on my Facebook feed that Don Lemon was arrested. Then, like, the next thing was that Gwen Waltz has filed for divorce from Tim Waltz, and I was like, yes, their whole house of cards is collapsing. Although they're doing it to try and protect their stolen money, but
of course it is. No, no, see, this is how I know you're a good police officer, Chris, because like and maybe in a former life I was one, because that was my first thought too. I was just like, they're doing this to protect money. Like that's the move. Like it really is. Like they're doing this to embezzle essentially, but not get caught. So I completely agree, man. It's like that. I doubted Pam Bondi, and I ate my fucking words on that. Like, Pam,
yep.
I salute you. You came in clutch when it fucking mattered. My only criticism is, let's keep this momentum going, sweetie. Like, let's keep this fucking train moving. See, because we got a lot more work to do, and there's a lot more people that we need to get warrants on.
Yeah, and we're definitely from that generation where it's like, show me. Don't tell me that charges are filed against all these people. Don't tell me how bad they are. Perp walk them in handcuffs and show me.
Yes.
You know,
I want to see a perp walk. I want the satisfaction of that. So, all right. So I think, Chris, that perfectly segues into obviously the elephant in the room, like the thing that everyone has been talking about nonstop for like the past month, including us, like you and I, having conversations about this. And, I wanted to touch on this specifically, like on a couple of different notes, just to get perspective from you being in law enforcement and having to deal with things like this, and me just being, you know, obviously pro 2A guy, pro gun guy, pro law and order guy. Like, we're not that far removed. It's just you do it professionally. Like that's kind of your thing. Like you're the good guy with the gun. I'm the other good guy that doesn't get paid to get shot at, but you know, I'll do the right thing in a clutch if I have to, but I'm just, you know, regular guy. Like, we are very different. So help me understand something. And I'm honestly not gaslighting when I ask this. I've actually always wanted to ask a police officer this, because I kind of suspect, like in the back of my head, that there's a rationale and a logic to this, but I'm simply not seeing it because I'm not on that side of the fence. And it's not that like what I see is like, oh God, that's offensive or anything like that. It's more that it just like in my head, it doesn't make sense. Like in my head, like I'm trying to rationalize it. And then I'm just like, someone on the inside may be able to make this make sense for me. But like from my eyes, like this is like fucking chaos. All right. So what am I talking about? All right. We'll just pick on the Alex Brady shooting, since that's what everyone's talking about. So for those not in the know on that, the narrative that this was like a nice guy and everything like that, guys, that has all been shot to shit from the video footage found by the BBC of all people, that was not only found, but they had actually posted it 2 weeks before the shooting happened. This was on their Facebook page, like it's date and time stamped. So this isn't like somebody, trying to dig up dirt on someone. Like, this is already out there in social media. We just didn't see it. So Mr. Preddy took it upon himself to essentially attack a federal vehicle, like kick out the fucking taillight, spit on the officer, and he's clearly shouting, assault me. Like he's literally fucking asking for it. And the feds basically take him down, like swamp on him and everything, obviously subdue him and everything, because the guy's acting like a fucking lunatic.
Yep.
And you can see very clearly in the video, like he's basically wearing the same outfit. Like, I'm just looking at this. I'm like, does this guy have like a protesting outfit or something? Like, what the fuck? But you can see towards the end of the video, he's fucking strapped. Like, it's in the same position as it was in the video that we've all seen. It's probably even the same gun. I can't swear to that because I couldn't see it rationally. But when a guy spends that much money on a gun, yeah, it's probably the same gun, more than likely. So Chris and I were kind of like trading tags on this on social media. And I had asked the question, like, you know, the one thing that doesn't, we'll get into my point in just a second, but like the one thing that doesn't make sense to me is like, why didn't they arrest him right there? Like, they have him on assault. They have him on destruction of federal property. Like, those are both felonies. Like, you can throw the fucking handcuffs on him and take him away right there. Mm-hmm. And like, like what the fuck, man? Like, what was the holdup? Like, again, I'd be more than willing to hear the officer side of the story because there may be more to this. I wasn't there, so I don't know. And that'd be the first question I ask them. Like, guys, what am I missing here? So, to get back around to the point, so the shooting video. Here's the part that I need to understand. So from my perspective, and then I'll kick it over to you, Chris, and just give us what it looks like from your end, because I'm sure you probably had to deal with this shit before. From my perspective, that many bodies on one person to me seems more problematic than problem solving, because you're trying to coordinate, like, what was it, like 7 guys on him, dude? 7 people like talking over each other with whistles blowing, with people shouting and shit like that, when everything's stressful and stuff like that. Like 2, maybe 3 guys, I understand. I'm not even talking about like force doctrine or anything like that. I'm talking about simple communication logistics, just your ability to hear the guy next to you in that situation. That is a lot of fucking cooks in the kitchen, in my opinion. And I'm trying to be like, all right, does, like, I'll ask the question. I'm genuinely asking this honest question. Does it take that many guys to subdue someone the size of this guy? He looks like he's 160, 170 pounds, like fucking average size skinny guy. The cops tackling him are easily twice his size. I'm not saying that they were wrong for doing this. I'm more asking to try and understand, like, why the dog pile, I guess. Like, what does that solve more than it creates problems with? Like, help me understand, Chris.
Okay. Well, let's go to the first video where he spit and he kicked out the tail light.
Sure.
I don't know why he wasn't arrested.
Sure.
In my mind, was he obstructing?
Would you have arrested him?
Oh yeah. Was he obstructing? Was he prohibiting law enforcement from performing any one of their law enforcement functions? Did he cause damage to government property? So you got 2 charges right there. I don't know why they let him go, and I've never heard an explanation. I would understand if there were like, you're trying to tackle this idiot because he kicked out your tail light, and then gunshots start happening down the street. He's not a priority anymore. But that's not what happened.
Right.
The second video, I don't know why. Again, I'm not sure why he wasn't arrested, because if you are going to use force on someone and take them to the ground, even if you're going to get them on an obstructing justice charge or something, because from what I understand, ICE was dealing with a woman, and then he comes up and interjects, right? So I would say he's definitely obstructing at that point, especially if they're telling him to get back. He's not complying. They're measuring his level of non-compliance. So he's not listening to officers' commands. He's getting closer. Now he's starting to maybe create a threat, a problem, something that they're going to have to deal with. So typically you just grab them and take them to the ground, secure those hands. Somebody secures the feet. You get them in handcuffs. You kind of roll them over onto their ass. And then you give them the search, and then you throw them in your vehicle, and ICE is going to leave. We would take them to, our facility and put them in an isolation room where we could take off layers of clothes, make them kick off their shoes, stuff like that. But I don't know why they didn't arrest the guy. And I don't know why, with the manpower that they had, they really just didn't pancake him, take control of his arms, legs, put him in cuffs, and haul him out of there. Because it's not like, so in my jurisdiction, I work by myself. So it's me. So I deal with those things by myself. So I don't know why, when, like you said, there's 7 people there.
Do you think
I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't make. I don't know why they didn't make an arrest.
Yeah. Can you, based on, like, I'm not asking you to armchair quarterback this. Like, I'm really not. I'm not asking you to pass judgment. I'm not passing judgment on these cops, because they're obviously going to do an investigation. We're going to get to hear their side of the story. I'm holding all judgment until I hear all sides of this. And right now, all we have is a video and what the press is telling us, and that's not even close to the whole story, and we both know that. But in your view, at face value, when you're looking at the way he was subdued in the original video, the one that ended up in his death, should it normally take that many guys? Because like you said, you're basically just trying to secure hands and feet. That's really it.
It depends. I don't know this guy, right? But if he was squirrely, he was able to whip his arms out and move and fight back and resist, and you need that level of, there are big dudes that go down real quick and they comply right away. And then there's really small women that will come at you like a spider monkey. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It just kind of depends. But I don't know why they didn't make an arrest. And then with no audio, usually when a gun is present that's not law enforcement, someone's going to say gun, and someone's either going to create distance, or officers are going to do what they're going to do. It's behavior based. We just went through all this in our tactics class when we talked about addressing thresholds and doorways and active shooter and stuff. But I don't know. I can't answer that question.
I got you, man. All right, I'm going to put a chat on screen here. Got one. Did they do a toxicology report on him? Wondering if he was on something. That's a good question. Yeah. Wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, that's always a factor.
Always, yeah. If the guy's like jacked out of his mind on meth or something, then yeah, that creates a different situation. So while we're on the topic again, we'll dig in here and just kind of give our thoughts on the problem at large. Like there are protests going on. I live in West Virginia now, guys. I'm a Virginia native, just recently transplanted here towards the end of last year. And we'll get, apparently I got out just in fucking time if you look at what's going on in Virginia right now. But
for sure.
Yeah. But there's protests going on here in my very tiny town of, I think there's like 11,000 people in my town. It's very small, dude. Like I come from, Northern Virginia, which is very densely populated, where you've got, 250,000 is like the low side of city population. So much larger suburban places. And the place that I'm at right now is just, tiny compared to all that. And there's still protests going on in West Virginia of all places. And when you look at a voter's map, bro, it's without contest the reddest state in the country. There are no blue cities. There are no blue counties. It is fucking red to the core. And even here, it's still happening. The turnout is fucking laughable. It actually gets kind of laughed at on social media because the bulk of the constituents is like, whoa, nice turnout. It's like 20 people there. And I haven't seen everything yet, obviously, but I mean, from what I've seen, it's mainly people standing on the side of the road, not in the middle of the road, holding signs and shouting. I don't agree with the psychotic message that they're preaching, but I have absolutely no problem with what they're doing. It's fine. Like, I don't have to listen to you. You're not obstructing me from getting to where I want to go. You're not potentially blocking an ambulance or police car or other EMS. You're not stopping the single father, trying to get to court, for the fucking divorce hearing, for custody of his kid and stuff, where if he's late, like that's fucking it. Like, you're not interfering with all of these really urgent situations, which is what I think a lot of these people don't understand. And I think guys like you and me, like on the other side of this, are just like, how does this not occur to these people? It's just like, it's like they don't understand what urgency is. Like, they've never had to deal with a legitimate emergency where somebody is dying and you're calling 911, you're waiting for the ambulance to get here, where literally seconds fucking count. And none of this occurs to them, that they could possibly be obstructing someone's life from being saved, like some little old lady going into cardiac arrest, or a diabetic going into diabetic shock or something. Like, the fact that that doesn't occur to any of them is mind-boggling. But at the same time, when you see their reaction to when they are met with like classic force doctrine, it looks like a child that's never been spanked or reprimanded by their parents. Like, I'm not even saying that to gaslight. Like, that's honestly what it looks like. And guys, I'm a parent now. I've got a very small child who's 14 months old, and he's at the point, he's approaching the terrible twos. Chris, you're a dad, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, where he's starting to act out a little bit, and he's starting to push the threshold, and he is having to learn the word no. And he's starting to get, he's like he's getting mad. They have big emotions when they're that little, because they don't properly know how to express themselves. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to start smacking around a kid that small, but at the same time, like, I will pull him aside and be like, that was not nice. And then I speak in what I call daddy's voice, where it's just like, I'm being direct and I'm showing him, don't do that again. I look at these people and I'm like, I'm reminded of my toddler, and my toddler gets a pass because, well, first of all, he can't talk yet. Like, he has like a couple of like a 2-word vocabulary, like for food and daddy, this and that. That's literally 4 words. The only thing he can say so far. And he can't walk not really yet. He's taking a couple of steps, but he's still figuring that part out. So he gets a pass just because he's a fucking baby. Like, he's a tiny human who doesn't know any better. But these are grown adults, like not even teenagers. Like, some of these people are my age. And I'm like, did your parents like never calibrate you when you were little? Is that what this was?
Yeah, they're the trophy generation. They never had to deal with any type of consequences. They feel like, and to answer some of the things that you asked about, you know, being in the street, and if somebody's life was in danger, they're just entitled. They feel that they're right, you're wrong. Their speech is protected. You should be canceled. I mean, it is absolute insanity. The difference is between a child and a liberal is that a child will eventually stop being a child. A liberal will always be a liberal because your child, like everyone else's child, should learn the difference between right and wrong somewhere around 8 to 10, to where they really understand what that means, the consequences of that, and the rewards of playing by the rules. We have a certain percentage of the population that has never had to go through those hardships of being told no. They just get whatever they want. They do whatever they want without being held accountable, because you know the leadership in their party, they're not being held accountable, so they're not going to hold people accountable. And what you have is like this tumbleweed that just keeps going and going and going, and as it's going through the desert, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it hits something, and something actually gets hurt because of their actions. And then they blame not themselves, anybody else, not themselves. It should be classified as a mental illness, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what else to call it, because it's
They are so far. They live in this like utopia with these impossible standards, and then they work down to reality that doesn't work like that. We all live in reality, and we understand that those perfect utopian standards will never be met because they're not reasonable.
No, because life is imperfect. So,
and then when someone doesn't live up to those standards, then there's a problem with you. It's a white male problem. It's a conservative problem. It's a America problem, you know. And none of those things are true. You're just living in a world. Their brains are in a world that don't exist, has never existed, and will not exist. So their inability to disassociate from fantasy land leads me down the path to believe that they have a true mental disorder that needs to be diagnosed.
Yeah. I mean, what else would you call that kind of behavior? Like, you take the politics out of it and just take the core behavior. What else would you call that from an adult? Like, that kind of behavior? You'd be like, that person's mentally ill. Like, that's like, I'm not saying that because I disagree with them politically. I'm basing that purely on their physical, like, and verbal behavior. I would say that person is short a couple fucking sandwiches of a picnic, man. There's a couple screws loose up there. Like, I'm honestly not even saying it to be a dick, man. Like, I don't know what else any reasonable person could call this.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, like, you know, not only did they not grow up with any consequences, their school system is completely different than when we grew up in the 80s and the 90s. They don't have a school system. They have an indoctrination system. So then they don't even learn anything, which is why none of them can name, like, you always see those videos on Facebook, like, can you name 10 countries in Africa? If you had $1 and how many quarters would you have out of $1? Right? They're like 7. I don't know. You know what I mean? You ever see those videos? You know what I'm talking about? Yes. That's why none of them know anything.
I know.
It's because they're indoctrinated and not educated.
Like, they asked black people to name countries in Africa. Yeah. And one guy was like, South Africa. It's like, all right, that one's right. North Africa, East Africa, West Africa. You should have stopped with South Africa, bro. Like, like, what the fuck? It's really kind of mind-boggling.
And it really is worse in liberal-controlled blue cities. Baltimore self-reported like 80% of, you know, middle school kids or high school kids didn't read, write, or do math at their grade level. So then it's like, how are they passing? Well, they're just getting passed through. So now you're putting people out after you're graduating these kids from high school at 18 years old, and they have essentially a 5th grade education.
Yeah, the I'm sure you saw the news clip. It is is a bunch of kids, and I believe it was a school in Georgia where they decided to cut class to protest ICE.
Yeah,
and then they pulled the school's metrics, and they're at like 11% reading and like 8% math. So it's like they probably don't even know what the fuck ICE is or even about any of this because they're stupid. And dude, it's a bunch of fucking high school kids who want to cut class. Like, I would have done it just to do it because Gen X loud and proud, fuck the system. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to politicize it. I'm just going to be like, fuck it, senior ditch day. Let's go. So people are treating this like it's like this huge political statement from these young people. It's like, dude, they don't give a fuck about your cause. They just don't want to be in school for obvious reasons because they're dumb. So it's
no one's holding these school systems accountable. The teachers, I mean, Legs is absolutely right. They're just getting passed on. It makes the teachers look good. Like, oh, we have 100% graduation rate. Well, it's because you just passed them. They had a problem with this. I want to say in Dublin, Ohio. Dublin, Ohio is one of like our rich areas, our rich suburbs. It's where the Masters golf tournament is held, right? The Memorial, not the Masters, the Memorial. And that's very rich community. And they had this influx of Somalis. This was 20 years ago. And they were disrespecting the teachers and doing all this stuff. It came out. They decided just to pass them, to get them out of there. Because it was disrupting everybody else. And it's like back in our day, if you disrupted the class, you got put in the special class. And then you got called names at recess. And
we'll say
thrown
it,
at you at lunch. You know what I mean?
We can say retard now. Like, it's actually allowed on YouTube. Not that I would care anyways, but you can say retard now.
I love the retard. Yeah, Mr. Penguin's right. Fail upwards. We got people like that at our jobs, right? I work for the state. It's the old saying, if you fuck up, you move up. Because they can't keep you in the same job because you keep screwing it up. So we'll give you a promotion.
Fail upwards, man. Yeah, that's funny you should mention that. That's a perfect segue. So we'll leave this up to the chat, guys, because this is something that Chris and I talked about offline. So guys, I've been asked like throughout my entire YouTube career, like what I do for a living, and I've never actually talked about it. I've kind of alluded to it. Like I just told you guys, I worked in IT, which is true. I wasn't lying, but I didn't really get into it. So I'm out of all this now. So I guess it doesn't matter because I'm not on an NDA or anything. So there's no legal action. And like right now, I don't even have an employer. Spoiler alert. So it's just like I can't even be fired for any of this. So I used to be a contractor for the federal government in DC. I've worked for virtually every 3-letter agency downtown in the big bad nation's capital, and they are all the same as far as the level of fuckery that goes on there. I can tell you this, guys, for anyone who is ever mad at Doge for basically firing people, the only people that are mad about that, there's 2 kinds of people. Number 1, people who work there, meaning actual government workers. And number 2, people that have never worked in a government building before. Because anyone who ever has, especially if you're a contractor, like I wasn't an actual Fed, you get treated like you're a second-class citizen if you're a contractor. Like it's like Rosa Parks back of the bus kind of shit. Like I'm not even being hyperbolic. Like when I went to the nurse's station because I was pulling some fucking wire through a hole and I sliced the living shit out of my hand, they refused to treat me because I'm not a Fed. I am not making this up. They gave me a bandage and everything to stop the bleeding and shit. My hand was gushing blood, dude. Like I didn't need stitches, but it was real close to that. But they refused to treat me. And this was an actual registered nurse, like took the oath kind of shit.
Right.
And they wouldn't treat me because I wasn't a Fed. Seriously. You can't make this shit up.
So
like,
they call an ambulance for you, or did you have to like go drive yourself?
They were just like, we can just give you the bandages. I was just like, I kind of need an extra set of hands here, man, because I'm down to one fucking hand right now.
You just put it in your hand
And, like,
swing it around real fast.
I know. I was like, are you guys kidding? Like, is this fucking April Fool's Day or something? They're like, no. I got so frustrated. I just grabbed the shit and fucking left. And I went downstairs. I pulled one of my coworkers aside. I was like, dude, come here. I need your help for a second. I was like, I just need help getting this bandage on my hand. He's like, did you go to the fucking nurse? I'm like, have you ever been to the fucking nurse? Because they don't give a shit about us. Like, fuck that bitch. I don't care. So the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, and I gave Chris a little teaser on this one without kind of spilling too much of the tea. I got a lot of stories from stuff I personally witnessed happened while I was there that I think if everyone knew these stories before the Doge shit went down, there would have been zero protests. And I mean fucking zero. When you hear about the stuff that I have personally witnessed, that government employees on your dime were getting paid to do, for lack of a better word. Like, I'm not even talking about people just screwing off at their desks. Oh, guys, no. I don't know how these people aren't in jail. And I'm not even saying that from like a moral majority position. Like, I'm not understanding how what they did isn't a fucking crime. Like, and we reported it and everything. Like, I'll save that and we'll see if the folks want to hear this shit. But where we've reported this up the channels, like to the federal people, and was like, like, we have proof of this and everything. And it wasn't even hearsay. Like, we have fucking data we can actually show you to prove what we're saying. Like, since we're the guys controlling the IT equipment, it's like, guys, we can see all this stuff and we can hand you a fucking hard drive to back up what we're saying. They didn't do shit. Just like the old adage of like, it takes an act of Congress to fire someone in the Fed. When I was working there, that wasn't that far from true. I've heard that has since changed. I still have friends that work there. One of my old bosses went over to what we call the dark side, and he went from contractor to Fed. And he's like a GS-14, I think, man. He's a director now. And he's talking about one of the agencies I worked for, and the guy running it, like the guy in charge of it, is like 28 years old now, and he used to work at Tesla. And everyone there hates him.
Good.
Because he doesn't tolerate any bullshit. Like, he really doesn't. I mean, think about this. Like, they're all mad because like literally everyone that works for him is older than he is. Because that's 99.9% of the federal government is fucking geriatric people just riding out to their retirement, some of which are just counting the days, and other ones were like, you're just like, why don't you retire? And when you think about it, though, it's like, dude, if he was like a power player at Tesla, which means he's probably answering directly to Elon Musk, who's a pretty strict guy when it comes to performance, like he expects absolutely nothing short of excellent. Dude, I wouldn't want to work for Elon Musk. Like, it would be cool to like hang around with the smart kids and just see how it works. But like, would I want him to be my boss? Fuck no. Are you kidding, man? No. Like, I don't have that high of a desire to go and build electric cars or any of this shit. But if the guy cut his teeth there and he made past the Elon sniff test, he's probably really good at getting stuff done. He's probably very efficient at his work, and that's probably why he was chosen for this. So if you guys want to hear that stuff, I've got some things I've played close to the vest. One in particular that I think is going to make Chris fucking blush, because I haven't told him anything about this. It's just something that me and my department, I guess you could say, kind of came into the possession of certain files that, again, I don't know how it didn't land these people in fucking jail, but if the audience wants to hear it, man, we will definitely cover this on future episodes, because we're not going anywhere. So I'll save one of those stories for the next episode. I don't want to kind of blow through all our fucking best shit on the first pod. But I mean, it's, we gotta save something.
Like a long-term teaser, like next time. We'll talk about it next time, and then next time we'll talk about it next time.
Yes, like I'm gonna stretch this shit out. So, okay. So there's something before we move on to the next segment, man. There's something I actually wanted to comment on. This is something that you and I, Chris, talked about a little bit. Okay. So we've talked about our perspective on how the liberals are handling this, the whole protest thing, the Minnesota thing, and like, that we think that they're a bunch of very, very unhinged people that don't understand the difference between protest and riot, when to the rest of us thinking humans, it's pretty straightforward. Like, a riot is when you engage, and a protest is when you stand there and shout. Like, that's the fucking preschool definition, pretty much. Like, that's as simple as I can make it. Standing there shouting, as long as you're not interacting, is fine. It's annoying. It's disruptive. It's obnoxious sometimes, but I can just keep driving. I don't have to listen. Like, who cares? So, but when you're like standing in the middle of the road, that's obviously a different story. And they're seeing that as protesting. It's like, guys, first of all, standing in the middle of the road blocking traffic is a fucking crime, like, by itself. It doesn't matter if you're protesting. Like, you being protesting doesn't give you fucking plot armor from committing crimes. Like, that's not some kind of shield where it's like, if I say I'm protesting, like, it's okay, I can go shoot someone. Like, not how it works, man. Like, all the other laws still apply. So what am I getting at with this? All right. I'll tell you what I'm tired of fucking hearing, and this is coming from even people inside the Trump administration who are shooting their fucking mouth off, in my opinion, and they're not doing any favors to keep their base, particularly Kristi Noem, who I haven't had much of an issue with fucking Ice Barbie up until this point. Like, I'm like, she seems like she's doing a pretty good job. Like, she's not taking any bullshit, and she's there to get the test done. It's like, great, go get him, Ice Barbie. But between her and I think Kash Patel and a few other people inside the administration, when they were talking about the Alex Preddy shooting, and they were mentioning the fact that they were basically saying in no uncertain terms that, like, why did he show up to a protest with a gun? And I'm just like, okay, I got a big fucking problem with that. On many levels. Number one, that's not a crime. Secondly, I've told Chris about this, and there's actually segments of this on my YouTube channel because I filmed when I was there. But for those not in the know, on Martin Luther King Day, I believe it was 2020. It was like literally right before COVID, like maybe a month before everything hit. And it's the fact that I'm bringing that up is about to get really funny when I tell you how this unfolds. So there was a very, very large protest, the largest one I've ever seen, organized in my home state of Virginia at our capital city, Richmond, because our shithead governor at the time, Ralph Northam, was trying to pass some incredibly draconian nonsense about, it was like magazine bans, AR bans. Like, it basically, if it had gone through, man, every single person with a non-revolver, like, would have been a fucking criminal overnight. Like, just a guy carrying a basic Glock 19, like the fucking Honda Civic of pistols that's fucking everywhere. I mean, it's like, it's the most common thing in the world when it comes to firearms. It literally is the Honda Civic of fucking firearms. Chris knows this. He's a cop. Like, they're fucking everywhere. Cops have them, crooks have them, everybody's have them. And so obviously, like, a lot of people on my side of the equation were not too happy about this. And guys, I'd never been to a protest before, like, not like this. So I heard about it, and I was part of a organization, actually technically still am, called the VCDL, Virginia Citizens Defense League. It's basically like a localized version of the NRA, but the difference is they actually do stuff. And the guy who runs their organization is actually an attorney who fights for gun rights. So unlike the NRA, who's famous for all talk and no fucking action, the VCDL fucking shows up. So I go to this protest, and it is in mid-January, and it is quite literally the coldest day of the year. I found that out when I got home. And guys, Virginia winters are no fucking joke. Like, it's not like Minnesota, but it gets fucking cold here sometimes in the winter. Like, I'm talking single digits with wind chill. It feels like it's below zero. Like, it's legit cold.
Yeah, we just had 11 inches of snow last weekend.
Yeah. And
it was minus 21 in Ohio.
Jesus Christ, bro. You just had to flex that Midwest shit, didn't you?
Yeah. That's how we do it.
All right. Well, then let me qualify that. For the American South, that's cold as shit. Like, it being like at zero, that's, I mean, it gets pretty close to zero just about every winter. It doesn't stay there like it does where you guys are, but we do have cold days where it's either dropping to zero or negative. That's very common. So we're out there in this shit, and I'll tell you guys something funny. So the VCDL organized these buses basically to take us to downtown Richmond, where we're going basically to the Capitol building. And literally the second I get off the bus, like my feet just hit the pavement, Alex Jones is rolling around in a fucking urban assault vehicle with loudspeakers on it, doing Alex Jones shit. And I was like,
right.
Let's fucking go, baby. I'm like, dude, it is a party now. Let's go. So that immediately set the stage. I was meeting some buddies there, and we meet up. And to give you guys a scale of this, guys, I don't know the exact numbers, but I heard the next day we had eclipsed 20,000 people. Like, this was huge. This was like the size of a fucking concert, and like a sold out concert. And here's the thing. Every single person there, me included, strapped to fuck and open carrying. And I'm not talking about pistols. There was a guy walking around, and I went up to this guy to shake his hand, and I basically said, sir, you win, with a Barrett 50 cal rifle. That one from fucking Halo. He was walking around with a fucking Halo gun, and I was like, dude, you win. I was like, you make the rest of us look like pussies, man. Like, you got the fucking baddest rifle in the world, man. And he's like, he's carrying it like this because the thing weighs like fucking 40 pounds or whatever.
You're right.
But I mean, dude,
I think the barrel's 22 pounds.
Yeah. So like, I felt underdressed because I'm there with like pistol and I've got like basic gear on. Like, I'm not fully kitted up or anything. I'm not wearing vests or anything. And like almost everyone else is wearing fucking like ARs, AKs and everything. I'm like, I felt like I was at my own prom and I didn't have the nicest tuxedo and I wasn't even close. Like, I felt like underdressed. I was like, well, kind of like shrinking down. But I go into, there's only one sandwich shop open in the downtown area. And we're mostly guys, like we're all fucking hungry because it's cold as shit outside. So the line's out the fucking door of this place. So we eventually get in just to get some lunch and everything, get sandwiches. I kid you not. I will never forget this memory. Every single table that I'm passing when I'm going up to the front to place my order, guys sitting there with kits, AR sitting on the table, and everyone is being cool. And that's the thing. There was one single arrest made that entire day. And here's where it gets funny, and it comes back around to where I said this would be funny later. They were arrested for wearing a mask. Oh, the irony. If they just waited like 30 days, like that wouldn't have been a thing. They're wearing a mask because it was freezing fucking cold outside.
Yeah, right.
Like, I wished I had brought mine because like I'm fucking freezing my ass off. Like, we're standing outside the entire time, guys. We're not like being pussies and hiding in stores. We're out there on the street the entire time. And everyone there is strapped to fuck. Dude, fucking, I'm not praising them, but fucking Antifa was there. Like, you could spot them. They're rolling up there with their fucking MP5s and their black bloc shit and everything. Like, they stuck out like a sore thumb. And everyone is being cool. There's no fights. There's no ADs, accidental discharges, for those not in the know, like zero with that many people. So when I heard that statement, like, why are you going to a protest with a gun? Okay, I and 20,000 other people did it. And because we're not stupid, nothing happened. Because we weren't going there looking for like a fight. We were going there looking for a political fight, but we weren't going there to cause trouble. We were going there to make a point.
Sure.
That we're here, we're strapped, we're Virginians, we're fucking voters. But dude, people came from different states. There were people from Michigan. There were guys from California. They were like so honored when I told them that I'm a native Virginian. Apparently it's an unusual thing. Virginia is a very transitory place, man. Like, especially Northern Virginia. People move here basically for DC jobs. Yeah. And every time I was in DC and I was like, yeah, I was born and raised in Virginia, people thought they acted like they're meeting a unicorn because it's so unusual. I was actually there that day handing out chocolate chip cookies that a friend of mine made that were in the shape of the state of Virginia.
Nice.
I mean, it's like, people are hungry, man. Like, maybe this is my small way of helping. I actually, funny since you're a cop, Chris, I actually went up to the police first and I offered them some because there's tons of cops there. Like they're just like hanging out and everything. Everyone's being cool. And I went out to them. I was like, hey guys. And the first look was like, it wasn't hand on pew pew, but it was like the look right before that. Where I was like, oh guys, no, same team. We're cool. I made some cookies, man. And I was just kind of handing them out to everybody. I didn't, want to excuse the fucking popo here. I wanted to make sure you guys got some. And they're looking at me like this and they're not saying anything. I was like, guys, they're not poisoned. And I pulled one out and I fucking ate one. I was like, there's no fucking, no bullshit going on here. I'm just trying to be nice. And then one spoke up, he's like, first, we appreciate it. Like, thank you. He's like, we would probably laugh harder if it was donuts. I was like, I thought about that, but I was like, I thought I'd do something a little more patriotic, since I'm a Virginia native. And he's like, dude, we literally just came out of the sandwich shop. We're all pretty fucking stuffed right now. So a lot of the local sheriffs were there protesting with us. There's a famous one. I think he's the sheriff of Prince William County, which is actually where I live. He had the most fucking gonzo position on this when the governor tried to step this in. His response was, he's like, if you pass this bill, I will deputize every single person in the state that in my county that wants to be. I was like, this is why I like sheriffs, because they're elected, which means you can remove them. They're like presidents. If they start fucking around, you can remove them from office.
For sure.
So I just thought that way. He was out there marching with us, man. Like he was like shoulder to shoulder. He's in his uniform and everything, and he's standing right there with us to make a point. I was like, the only people who think that carrying a gun anywhere is like a bad idea are the people that haven't met people like us.
I always say, like, you can come from different walks of life and believe different things, but I will always defend your rights under the Constitution. And if you are legally allowed to carry a gun in a certain spot and you want to do it in the manner which is prescribed by law, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you and I will defend that, even if you're a weirdo liberal or whatever. But those rights are the constitutional rights. They're inalienable. They're not given to you by the government. They're granted to you by God.
Yeah,
so your right to assemble is right there in the First Amendment. You have the right to free speech, religion, press, assembly, and then everyone always forgets a petition for redress, right, against your government without consequence. So it's the First Amendment because it's the most important. So you should be able to assemble lawfully, and if you're able to carry a firearm, and that's what you want to do, then feel free to do that. The problem is when you go to these semi-protests, semi-riots with the intention of looking for trouble and getting up in the police officers' faces and disrupting communities, then it becomes an unlawful protest. So, and I think a lot of times they really push that boundary.
Yeah, it's so, I guess it's so obvious to guys like you and me, because when you're going out strapped, the last thing you want to do is get in a fist fight, and much less fight with cops. Like you just don't do that, because it's like, dude, I'm strapped. Like there's a certain responsibility that comes with that. That's like, it's not like a law that says you can't do that, but it's more just like, it's common sense that tells you not to do that. Like you intentionally remove yourself from situations like that because you're carrying, because then if you get in a fucking fist fight with somebody, then your gun becomes everybody's fucking gun. Because what happens when it comes loose your holster, someone else can grab it, then it becomes a life or death situation. Like then you have escalated the situation. Like defend yourself if you have to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like just like run away is the absolute solution.
You can't. So I always say this about the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin thing.
Sure.
You don't get to provoke your own attack and then claim to be a victim. Right. So he was told by the cops or by the dispatcher not to follow this kid. He did it anyway. He knew that he had a gun. He knew that he was in a state where if he felt threatened, he could shoot this kid and go, "Oh, stand your ground." I thought he was going to jail. I thought George Zimmerman was going to jail. You can't do that. And that's the situation that people get into is when you're not a responsible gun owner, first of all, responsible gun owners don't typically go to like the grocery store looking for trouble, poking people in the chest, where you're looking at my wife's behind, you know, and then shooting people. Bad gun owners do that stuff. People that shouldn't have guns do that stuff. And my opinion, all right, just my opinion here, the old CM Retro's opinion.
Speak freely.
The majority of people that carry at protests at conservative events are more responsible gun owners than people that carry guns at protests at liberal events.
I would say that's a fact, Chris, but sure.
Unless someone is willing to show me the video of a conservative, maybe during the Obama administration, when 64 people were killed during ICE encounters, since no one wants to talk about that, where a conservative with a gun kicked the tail light out of an ICE vehicle, and then they had a scuffle and they shot it. Unless you're willing to show me that video of a conservative doing that, then we can talk. But these cats on the left, again, they're mentally ill. They're on all these pills and depression meds and anxiety meds and OCD and ADD and all this. Like they shouldn't even have guns, in my opinion.
Nope.
Because there's no way they can be responsible with them. They're essentially, if you're carrying a firearm while you're drunk, in different states are a little different, but in Ohio, you're carrying a firearm under disability.
Yeah.
Right. That's a problem. I tend to think that most left-wing people with guns are carrying under disability because they're on some type of medication that would probably not be good to carry a firearm on. Mr. Pin said, "Bring back asylums." In the mid-1950s, there was an estimated 560,000 people in this country in mental institutions. Reagan got rid of them, but if we opened up mental institutions today, I guarantee we could beat that number in a month.
Oh, facts, dude. No, if we open mental institutions today, liberalism would die overnight. Like that would be the end.
Voter base would be institutionalized.
It would be. No, like there would still be the Bill Maher's of the world because he's a rational, grounded dude. Like he's a pretty sensible guy, but he's not. He's the exception, like not the rule. That's the problem. He used to be the rule, but now he's the exception. And even he's just like, dude, I didn't change. Everyone fucking else did. He's like, I'm still the same guy. He still has the same positions on everything. Some I agree with, some I don't. But I thought it was, we'll touch on that, then we'll move on to the next one. I thought it was, since we've like shit on liberals all night, we'll talk favorably about one of them. I thought it was really classy that Bill Maher like basically said, fuck you to the people who poo-pooed him having dinner with the president. Like before he even had dinner, they're just like, why are you going to do that? He's like, to talk to him because that's what we should be doing. We should all just be talking, even if we don't agree. And he had nothing but nice things to say. He's like the nut I thought that was in the White House. He's like, no, he's just playing one on television. And I'm like, yeah, we all know that, dude. Like we all know that like behind doors, he's a pretty nice guy. Like because everyone that knows him personally is like, he's actually kind of a sweetheart. Like he really cares about the people around him. And when they're talking at the dinner table, like it's him and Dana White and everything. And he's like, every single time we move to a topic, like the president moved to me and was just like, Bill, what do you think? And he wasn't in a like, oh, let's laugh at the fucking liberal. Like he was genuinely invested. Like, I'd like to hear what you think. Like he's just that kind of guy. So it's like, and Bill had the balls to, his audience was booing him. And he's just like, you know what, man? He's like, to the people booing this shit for basically me having a conversation, he's like, President Trump and I agreed on one thing that night. We don't like people like you. Yeah. And I was like,
that's the hive mind that is liberalism. Yeah. We were talking about it before, Republicans and Democrats, the system is set up for two parties to create balance. We can agree or disagree on military spending, abortion, gun control, foreign policy, environment stuff, size of the government. Yep. And that's fine. But when you start this down this hive mind, this group mentality that you will agree with us or we will cancel you. We will fire you. We'll get you fired from your job. will get you off of the social media platforms. Like that is so, it's just insane. And it's like, they want to sit there and call us all these Nazis and bigots. And it's like, let's not forget that the Nazi Party originated as the Democrat Socialist Party, and then it was
Correct.
the National Socialist Party. So who are the socialists? The
It was
Democrats.
originally a
They're
liberal
actually
organization.
the Nazis. You know what I
Yes.
mean? But they believe in Nazism. You
Yeah.
know, we don't like you, so we're going to silence you or get rid of you. Just like the Nazis didn't like
Yeah.
a certain group of people, and they got rid of them.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's a cult.
And the
Like,
fact
I'm
that
not
they
even
can't
saying
see
that as a
the fact that they
pejorative.
don't understand that. Oh my God, it kills
I
me.
know, it's because people in a cult don't know that they're in a cult, and it's so crazy to me because it's like everything that you just named. If I didn't know you were talking about politics, I'd be like, you're describing a cult, because that's exactly, I mean, what you just described. If you took the word liberal and politics and out of everything you just said, I would have been like, are you talking about Scientology? Because that sounds like exactly the way they operate. It's a fucking cult. Like, as soon as you do something that they disagree with, you're outed as an other.
Mhm.
Like you said, like Nazi, fascist, whatever the fucking buzzword of the week they want to call us. Like,
And
just because they disagree.
Forget when they attack conservatives, because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
Look at what happens when Democrats go against the Democrat Party line.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that I would say that John Fetterman was like
With
a
brain
sensible
damage.
person in the, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he had a stroke and he couldn't talk, and like, or that Melissa Hortman that was killed. She voted against giving illegals benefits. She was killed, and then the person that won the special election, XP Lee, immediately voted to give immigrants all these benefits. And now here we are talking about all this fraud and where's it going, and follow the dollars. And it's like, it is, their party is just it's a grift.
Yeah.
It's an extortion
No, it
scam
is.
to get money from the taxpayer. That's why they love big government so
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. It's, the whole thing is one giant fucking scam. And it's to the point where some of you may have seen this. There's a growing kind of trend going in social media right now of a lot of people, and some of these people are in very elevated positions in social media. I'm talking like Sean Ryan, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, who's like starting to support this. The Hodge twins, I'm sure you know who they are. They're behind this.
Damn,
where people, damn good show.
Good show.
They're responding to the sentiment of these people who are just like, all this fucking fraud going on where they're wasting like taxpayer dollars and shit. What happens if we decide to simply say we're not paying income tax until we have a full audit and you guys fix this? And then they're just like, well, there's enough of us doing this, man. There ain't enough fucking prisons to hold all of us, and the IRS doesn't have enough people to arrest all of us. They don't even have enough people to investigate all of us. So it's like, what's going to happen when people dig their heels in, and it's just like, like the Pentagon has failed to fucking audit like 5 years in a row and shit like that. Like, I'm not just picking on them, but it's like, it's not just what's going on in Minnesota, guys. This is part of one gigantic fucking machine.
Yeah, it's
that
been
has not worked correctly for a long time.
Yeah, I'll put the blame about halfway through the Bush administration, when the war really started to kick off, and that second administration that the Bushes had, and then that's when we really saw the rise of like Blackwater and like Halliburton, right? All these contractors started to come in. It's like, who's paying for it? We got military guys, right? Like, we could patrol. We don't need Blackwater. What are they there for?
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts to come out about how much they're getting paid and how much the contract is. And it just seemed like after that, it was open season on tax dollars.
No,
get as much as you can, as fast as you can, and
it's
keep your nose in that government trough and keep it there.
It's really made me rethink my position on this topic, where it just becomes like, what exactly am I paying into here? Because I already think that we are taxed absolutely to fucking death to begin with.
For sure.
Excuse me a second. I was grabbing some water here. Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely
So,
agree
like-
with that. And it's like, you know, you look at some of again, these Democrat-run cities, they're starting to raise taxes on the richest people, and it's like they're not going to stay there, bro. You know what I mean? They have options.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening in my my home state of Virginia right now. I was alluding to that earlier.
Yeah,
With
I
the new
saw
governor that was elected, which I don't know how the fuck she got elected. Like, first of all, like I don't understand that, because when you look at the governor that preceded her, Glenn Youngkin, who actually did an amazing job, and Virginia was sitting on a fucking surplus when he left office. Like because they cut so much fucking spending, and they figured out how to fix so much waste, that they ended up with a budget surplus. And the governor actually gave us all tax rebates.
Oh, nice.
On top of that, so we got like checks, and it was substantial. Like, one of them was the better part of $1,000, if I remember correctly. So, because they had extra money, he's like, "Well, we don't really need this, and it's your money to begin with. So let me do the right thing." And I'm just like, why don't they all fucking do that? Because everything he just said is true. Yes, it's our money. So the first thing, the new governor, Abigail Spanberger, is doing is there's going to be taxes on Uber Eats, on Amazon delivery, on property taxes, on lawn care stuff. So it's like, if you have a lawn care business, you're going to pay property taxes on your fucking lawnmower, which is absolutely insane, dude. I think car property taxes are bullshit. And this isn't the reason I moved to West Virginia, but one of the big fucking gets that happened is it actually goes into effect this year. West Virginia has abolished all car property tax. It just went into effect. I have 4 cars, so I definitely have skin in the game. 5 if you count the wife's. So I'm kind of a car guy, and I guess obviously it shows. Oh, and 2 motorcycles on top of that. So yeah, I was like, yeah, this is stupid that we're still doing this shit when so many other places don't. Like, house property tax, I mean, bless Governor DeSantis for fucking coming out and trying to do the right thing. And apparently he's going to get his way. Apparently they're removing it because they've found other sources of income that can replace it. Where he was like, he had the balls to make the statement, like, dude, you got this old couple, like my parents are in their fucking 80s, man. They paid off their house. It's the same house that I grew up in. I was there. We moved there when I was 7 years old. So I spent basically almost all of my formative years in that house, and they're still there. And they busted their ass and they paid it off. And they're still paying property tax on it. Do you really own something if you're still paying tax on it? Because they can take it away if you don't pay the tax. That's not right.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts.
That's not American.
I own this laptop and I own this phone, and I don't pay like the Apple tax. Throw them $17 a month after I've already paid off my phone. For my phone. That's nuts.
No, it's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's like there needs to be a limit on things like that, because if someone like Thomas Jefferson heard about this, he would be asking us the question, why haven't you burned this government down and rebuilt it?
Right.
Like, he would be that radical.
This is all 1913 stuff where we were gonna, needed to fund a war. So they were like, hey, we got, the bankers came in and said, we got a great idea. Why don't we tax people just for a little bit? All right. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we'll even create a Federal Reserve. It won't be actually a federal agency. We'll keep everybody's money there, and we'll just pretend like it's ours, but we'll keep it at our house. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the absolute downfall. Like that needs to be, that whole system needs to be. And what's so funny is because, like, when you really understand, when you deep dive into it, and the Democrats, they weren't concerned about the deficit until they were out of office. Now they're concerned about the deficit, but it's all for show. Yep. Because the bankers that own our debt don't want us to ever pay the debt back. They want to collect their $860 billion a year in interest payments. That's what nobody's paying anybody's debt back. It would absolutely, if they printed off $34 trillion and said we're paying the debt off, it would disrupt the global economy so bad
Yep.
that other countries would crumble because everything's based off of what we do. So we need that debt, and the bankers don't even want it. They just want their $800 billion a year for the. It's crazy town when you really understand it. So either they're doing it for show, which is absurd, or they don't understand how money works, which I would agree with that too. They probably don't know anything because they're Democrats. But
Facts.
yeah, it's crazy, especially when you talk about tax. Like we're pretty low here in Ohio. Like I think we're like at 7% sales tax or something. But I couldn't live in California where it's like 14%, or like Madami said that people that make over $1 million in New York are now going to pay 52%. Could you imagine making $1 million a year in New York and your take home is $480,000? And that's before the feds get their part.
I know. It's
nuts.
The way
Plus
we're
cost of
doing
living,
things.
it's crazy town.
It's not right. There's a better way of doing this. And for the majority of this country's existence, we've existed without these kinds of taxes. Like the federal government operated entirely on tariffs until the First World War, and we were fine. And we had 3 wars before that, like including the Civil War, that were funded without income tax. And that was an expensive fucking war. So, the Spanish-American War, the War of 1812, like when we had to fight the British the second time, like none of those things required income tax. We just used tariffs to fund it. So the benefit that we have of being the world's superpower and like the world's largest marketplace is that everyone in the world who makes something, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's fucking Swedish IKEA furniture or somebody making something out of China, they all want to sell their products to Americans because we are the biggest market. So we have the benefit of saying like, okay, well, we're going to put a little tariff on that, and we're going to use that to advance, national defense, keep the border secure, stabilize the economy, get some social programs going, the good social programs. And, we're just going to take a little bit off the top because that's the way the fucking house works. And we're going to keep things funded. The people who said that, the tariffs thing wouldn't work with Trump, I was just like, you don't know your history. I was like, yeah, is what he's proposing radical? Yeah, but we're in deep shit right now. And like the regular ideas aren't cutting it. So it's time to get fucking radical. People are like, he's so fucking radical. It's like, good. Like, aren't you sick of this shit? Because I am.
Here, a little credit, and maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse in this second term. But it's like, I don't want to pay the tariff on items that I buy and pay this high of taxes. It's got to be one or the other. Like lower the taxes, get rid of the taxes, whatever. I don't mind paying taxes. I don't want to pay like 33% to the federal government and another like 12% to the state. And because I work in a different city that I live in, now I'm paying, you know what I mean? Like there's a limit. But to answer your question, if the founding fathers were alive today, we would burn this bitch down in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Because Jefferson would be furious. He
would
be like, why haven't you destroyed this? Because he was the guy who coined the phrase, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. And it just like, it was his idea, like, because he was by far the most fucking radical motherfucker, of all the founding fathers. Like, he was the guy, he was like the Alex Jones of the founding fathers, where he's like, he's kind of right, but he's a little out there. Like, he was the youngest of the group. He was in his fucking 20s when he wrote the Constitution and shit. Like, think about the pressure. Like, he's writing this for a bunch of old men, and he's like the young, kind of brilliant mind in the fucking room, like the smartest of the bunch. It was his opinion that he'd be mad that we haven't replaced and improved the government like 10 times by now, because he was like, okay, this is the idea that we have at this time because we think this is the best that we can do with the resources that we have and the knowledge that we have. And it was his opinion that like, okay, if you fast forward like 30 or 40 years, the people that are after us are going to be smarter, are going to learn from our mistakes. They're going to remove this government, and then they're going to put in a better one. So he would be angry that we've existed for 250 years and we're still operating more or less the same way. We've made slight improvements. We've abolished slavery. We've given women the right to vote. Like, we have made some advancements, but he was so fucking like out there on this great experiment that he's just like, okay, I'm going to be angry if the people who like a century from now don't come up with an even better idea than we did. he knew that this was not like the final thesis, man. He knew that this was the rough draft. Like, this is going to get people started. Like, we're going to lay the foundation. Hopefully the tenets that we hold, these things that we declare to be self-evident, hopefully that's going to matter in 100 years. And they're going to use that, and they're going to do something even better than we did. So he would be angry as fuck at even patriots. It's like, why haven't you? It's like, you think this government's tyrannical? Why haven't you overthrown them yet? He's like, what the fuck are you waiting on? You're all armed. Like we had guns back then. He's like, there's 350 million of you, man. There's like fucking 800 billion guns in this country. Like, what the fuck is the problem? For the record, guys, I'm not inciting that we take over the White House or anything like that. I'm using this just to make a point that they would all be very mad that we were just talking about this on the internet, and that like we weren't like forming fucking assemblies to basically march on the White House and be like, we're here to replace you because we deem you to be tyrants. Like, that was the way that they did things, and that's the way they would have handled it if their own government system went tyrannical. That's, again, why the Second Amendment exists, because they had the foresight to know, like, all right, we're doing this cool experiment, and we think it's probably going to work, but if it doesn't, there's still going to be armed people who can basically wipe the fucking slate clean and replace the government if needed. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so important, even to this day. That'd probably be the only thing that he would be happy about, is that we didn't abolish the Second Amendment. He'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ, you listened to one fucking thing we said. Thank you. So it's crazy to think about that we're still, we're still dealing with taxes and everything like that. Like, I personally, guys, I'd rather get rid of income tax, and I'd rather there be like a 2% federal sales tax, because like, I'm not pro taxes, but if I have to choose, I would rather pick a sales tax, because I can opt out of that. I have to buy food and stuff like that, but like, I don't have to go get another car. I don't have to go get the new Xbox. I don't have to go get a new phone. Those are wants, not needs. Like, I can remove myself from that. The income tax is taken before I get my money. So if I have to pick, I'm going to pick the sales tax, because like that to me is a little bit more democratized, because like, you can choose to be a part, or you can choose to just be like, fuck you, I'm not being part.
It fits in with our general madness in this country for consumerism. If I like Sony, I'm going to buy Sony, and I'll pay that tax. And if we all like Sony and no one wants to buy Microsoft, then Microsoft goes out of business,
Yeah.
So the spirit.
No, I agree. All right, so dude, we got to talk about at least one gaming segment here, because like the politics in pro America, I could obviously talk about this all day, and obviously so could you. We got to talk about it.
I think we can hit the last three there on the agenda. We got time.
We can do this. All right. So I've been asked about this topic by just about everyone I know on social media, because everyone that I know on social media knows that this is a massive fucking deal to me. And just to further qualify that, I'll do a little bit of a flex here, if I can do this without knocking too much over. All right, I know you guys can barely see it, but that's a display case full of my original Masters of the Universe figures. And there's another one on the other side of the room. Like, I wish I could light it up and show you guys what it actually looks like, but I'm just trying to set the stage here for the kind of super fan that I am of this franchise.
You should take pictures of it, post it on the Facebook page, and then tell people to go to the Facebook page, follow the Facebook page, and then link the podcast. Boom.
That's a good idea.
How about that? little
good idea.
Self-promotion.
I will do that. So just to set the stage on this, guys, like I have loved this since I was 3 years old. It was literally the first thing I was ever obsessed with, where I had to have every figure. I had to watch every episode of the show. I saw the cartoon movie in the theaters. I saw the live action movie in the theaters. It's probably my earliest memories of going to the movie theater. He-Man was literally fucking oxygen to me when I was a small child. It was everything to me. And to this day, Mattel is still doing fan service. They're putting out new editions of stuff. Like, they're still playing the hits to old dorks like me who love this shit. I share it with my son. He actually has some of the figures on the wall in his nursery and everything. I gave him his first Master of the Universe figure. He actually got to pick it out. He actually picked Whiplash, one of Skeletor's minions. I was a little disappointed that he didn't pick He-Man, but I was like, it's okay. Like, he picked a Dark Horse, so he loves it. It sits on his shelf. Every time I go in the morning to get him up, he points to the shelf the Whiplash is on. He says, "This?" because he wants to hold it. So that's our routine when I'm changing his diaper after I get him up in the morning. He has to hold his Whiplash figure. So this is like the one thing in my life that you don't fuck with. Like, if you're going to fuck with it, leave it alone. Just let it be. So what am I getting at? Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you guys out there have seen the Masters of the Universe upcoming movie trailer that's being made by Amazon/MGM Studios. Okay, so here's my hot take on it. Taking this from a guy who has followed this franchise since its beginning and has followed this well into his fucking 40s. I am I don't know a bigger fan of this than me. I really fucking don't. Like, my wife and friends have a thing when they describe what I do. They're like, dude, there's collectors and then there's Jimbo. Like, I'm that guy that just goes out there on this shit. Like, that goes, some might argue, too far on my obsession with this stuff. And the reaction to that trailer has kind of divided the Motu community, kind of right down the middle. From what I can tell, it's kind of 50-50 as far as the reaction. I don't totally hate it, but I do have some concerns. There was a metric shit fuck ton of fan service in that trailer, which I thought was incredible. Just things that only dorks like me would notice. Where Prince Adam, when he's on Earth and he goes to the geek store and he's like pulling the sword out of the statue, that statue is based on the original concept drawing of He-Man. Like, they're even going that far into the fucking red. Like, they're going that hard into the paint to speak to dorks like me. So, like, I love that part of it, where I'm just like, oh my God, bro. Like, they're doing the Lord's work here. So what are my concerns? I'm just going to say it. The guy playing He-Man is not 1/10 as fucking jacked as he needs to be. And that particular part of this whole thing has literally split the Motu community down the middle. And I frankly don't understand the people who don't understand that criticism. They're just like, well, he got in shape and stuff. It's like, look, first of all, I'm not shitting on this young man. Nicholas Galzantine, I believe is his name. Young guy. From here up, he looks like He-Man. Like as far as like the face model and everything, and the hair, like, dude, fucking like out of the park. Like, you guys did a great job. But the resistance that it's getting from the fans, I don't understand this for two reasons. Like, number one, it's just like, guys, we all know what fucking He-Man looks like. We all know what this character was based on, because the creators of this have been very transparent about that. He was based on a golden era bodybuilder, like essentially the Schwarzenegger era of bodybuilders from the 70s, like guys who really got fucking jacked. Like, this was like their answer to that. So, and at the same time, like their response to that is like, when, dude, it's really hard to find an actor that's like, that's that jacked and stuff like that. I'm just like, it's like you guys live in a different version of the fucking Matrix, where like Alan Ritchson and Chris Hemsworth and The Rock and John Cena don't exist, or Dave Bautista. It's like, I'm not recommending any of those guys for the role, but I'm making the point, guys, no, they do exist. Like, I wouldn't pick any one of them to play He-Man. Like, if I had to pick one, maybe Alan Ritchson. He's a little too old, but I mean, he's tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's fucking built like fucking He-Man. I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. Like, that's what he looks like. If I had to pick anybody, seriously, even though he's a little too old, but Mike O'Hearn, the fucking bodybuilder, that guy literally, he is built like a fucking action figure, dude. Like, I mean, he is built like a real life cartoon. Like the real version of He-Man. Tall, handsome, like piercing blue eyes, blonde hair, jacked as fuck. I mean, like, that is the character, period. So that's kind of my main hang up on it, is the character is literally, and this is his title, the most powerful man in the universe. He literally fought fucking Superman in the comics, and it came to a draw. And Superman's more jacked in the movies than this guy. So I'm just like, it doesn't make sense to me that this is supposed to be the believable version of, like, you know, this is the most powerful man. Like, dude, the most powerful man in the universe should be the fucking thickest motherfucker in the room. He should be built like Conan the Barbarian. And I'm honestly not shitting on this guy, man. I've been following this. This guy's been training his ass off to get in shape. I salute him on this. I think they could have picked a better trainer. He probably should have been on gear, because everyone else in Hollywood is. They all do it. Like, it's
he should have been on the gas if he was.
Yes, because I mean, you're playing fucking He-Man, for Christ's sake, man. Like, you're literally supposed to be built like a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders are on fucking gear, dude.
It's one of those roles that, like, you can't fuck this up.
No,
you know, like,
you got to get it right.
So, it has to be. And if it's not right, don't do it.
I know. So that is my main criticism. Like, that's really the one hang up. Since I've shit on it for a little bit, let me talk about what I liked. I like that they're throwing in fucking Dark Horse characters. Like, even in the trailer, there was somebody spotted Mechanic, Ram Man. Like, you know, like, they're really pulling stuff. Like, dude, Spike-Or, dude. Fucking Fisto there is a character in a movie in 2026 named Fisto who says fist like a verb. And I hope they ham this up. Like, my guess is, like, Adam's going to meet this guy and he's going to, like, introduce himself. It's like, oh, I'm Fisto. It's like, what do you do? I fist things. And Adam's probably going to be like, where I come from, that means something different, man. So, you might want to tone that down a little bit.
Somebody's going to get offended.
Yeah, but I want him to say, like, oh, I'd like to fist him, because that's how Fisto talks. Like, I don't want them to push that down. Like, no, like, to be perfectly honest, of everyone in the main cast, the one actor who looks the most like his character is Fisto. I have no criticisms of that. Like, I was like, no, that's the guy. Like, he's got the red hair, he's got the beard, looks like he's like semi-Scottish, you know, kind of Nordic, kind of Viking, and he's fucking big Jack guy. Like, that's the character. So I don't know why they picked a short Asian guy to play Ram Man when Ram Man is the largest of the heroes. Like, he's built like the fucking Hulk. Like, first of all, why is he Asian? Second of all, why is he short? Like, I don't understand. Man at Arms. Look, I fucking love Idris Elba and his speech from fuck, I'm totally spacing on the movie. The fucking giant robots, Pacific Rim. His fucking speech, man, when they're going off to fucking, you know, like, tonight we're canceling Apocalypse. That's one of the best goddamn speeches ever on film. Like, that was chef's kiss. We couldn't find anyone else that actually looks like Man at Arms to play Man at Arms. Like, there's no one else that we could have picked where we had to completely race swap it for apparently no reason. Like, I'm not shitting on him as an actor. I love Idris Elba. He's fucking amazing, dude. But, like, we couldn't find one actor who, like, looks like Duncan / Man at Arms. There wasn't one white guy that you could find that looks like him
with a big bushy mustache.
Yeah, I mean, like, if this was like the early 80s,
yeah, I'm not.
It'd be the easiest casting ever. Tom Selleck. Like, yeah.
Tommy Selleck. What's he doing?
He's Man at Arms, bro. He's the guy. Yeah. So, but anyways, I've talked for a bit. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah. So, obviously, growing up in the 80s, right? Love He-Man, and had some of the figures, not a lot of them, and it's so funny. And I posted this on my toy channel. I think the Toy Freaks.
Mm-hmm.
A lady I work with, I love garage sales, but she likes garage sales too. And she got a box of He-Man figures for $12.
No way.
It wasn't just He-Man. When I started looking at it, I was like, this is a half boot Skeletor. You know, and this is like that one Beast Man that's got like the rose cheeks or whatever it is. You know, I'm like, ooh, these are like really good ones. So I started piecing some of those together, and, you know, got my stuff for the Tila and the Evil Lynn. I was just buying parts off of eBay, you know, to make them complete.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Going to my local store, and like they had Whiplash for like $5. So I basically bought the Whiplash, took the staff, the orange staff, and then traded the figure back in for like $2. So I got the staff for $3, right? So I went on a little bender about that with those a couple of years ago. So I saw this trailer, right? And I was like, wow, that looks really, really cool. Because I'm still a little jaded off of the Netflix adaptation. I was like, I don't know if I like this. I don't want to do this anymore. But I thought the visual style of the trailer was really, really cool. Of course, I'm not like a super He-Man fan, so I wouldn't know all the little references and things like that. But I was pretty excited to see it, and I was glad that it didn't look like, at least from the trailer, that they fucked it up too bad. You know?
No, they didn't. I'll be fair, they didn't. It looks like it has promise, and I'm glad we don't have to look at Jared Leto's face. I can't stand that motherfucker, and he's Skeletor. Like, I don't know why they hired him to play Skeletor. It's like, really? Like, again, I'd look at these casting decisions, and I'm just like, I'm not even saying this to shit on the actor. I'm more just like, there was no one else. Like, when you were thinking about Skeletor, you didn't think about the guy who played fucking Agent Smith, Hugh, whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah.
Played Elrond in Lord of the Rings. Like, him, like, he played the Red Skull and everything. Like, he's really good at playing villains. Like, you didn't think about somebody at that level to play this, like, perfect, like, archetype of the ultimate so bad it's good villain. Like, Skeletor is at, like, the top of that fucking list, man, of just a villain who loves chewing scenery and being bad. Like, I don't understand, like, why they're just going like fucking sideways on this shit. It just seems for no fucking reason. Like, I don't get it. Like, why are and another thing, since you mentioned the art style on the show, okay, as a rule I agree with you. However, there's one thing that I'm tired of seeing, and I'm not just picking on this trailer. I'm tired of seeing this in general. And I can blame like Guardians of the Galaxy for this shit, because that's probably the first movie I remember doing this shit. That was a lot of the criticism the trailer got, is people like, oh god, it's fucking Masters of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like, and when you watch the trailer, like they're kind of not wrong. But I'm tired of seeing the exact same color palette in every fucking movie, because when you look at it actually down to the color keys that they're using, it's the exact same as the Marvel movies. Like, it is the same fucking song and dance that they are doing for all of these films, because the Marvel movies are successful, and they're like, why not change it? As a super fan, I'd be like, dude, you're going to Eternia. Eternia is an extremely colorful place. Why are these filmmakers so terrified of color? I don't understand. Like, why does Adam have to have like a muted pink shirt? Why can't it just be pink? Why is Man at Arms?
Do you think it's like a costume and wardrobe issue, or do you think it's like a CGI issue? Like, if we make the thing dark, then it will blend a little bit better with the background, and you know, won't show that
Maybe
contrast that you get with like shitty CGI.
Maybe. Like, if there's a technical reason behind this, I will be happy to recall my opinion on this. But let's assume for a second that
we're in 2026, and there really shouldn't be a technical reason for that.
We're in the age of HDR and 4K televisions, where color is king, dude. Like, if you look at Man at Arms armor in the trailer, it looks like if they go full circle and they pay it back, and at the end he's wearing the original armor, which I think might actually happen, that's fine. You can see the hints of the orange in his armor. It looks like it's been worn off, like it's down to the fucking metal and shit. If you zoom in on it, so it looks like it was originally orange, but he's been wearing it so fucking long that it's like a car with a fucking paint job. It eventually just wears out. And if that's what they're going for, cool. Like, that's fine. I understand that. As long as they're paying it back at the end, like Man at Arms walks in when they're wrapping everything up, he's got a new suit of armor, and he's rocking the orange and green, because that's what Man at Arms looks like. I'm honestly not picking on like this trailer specifically. It's kind of movies in general right now. And a lot of people have bitched about this just in general, where it's just like we're being given the same thing over and over and over again. Like movies are so terrified of doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could not make Sin City today, like doing it in black and white with the limited color palette and stuff. No one would do that today.
It would never get approved.
No, because it's like
Sure.
they'd be like, oh my god, you can't do that. Like there's a formula we have to use here, and you can't step outside of that. No one would ever greenlight that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see filmmakers and studios push that boundary like they have before and do new stuff. Like stop being terrified of color. It's Eternia, for Christ's sake, man. Like the whole planet is like this hodgepodge of colors. I just want them to not be afraid of that and be like, you know what? The property that we're adapting here has a lot of fucking color. Why don't we run with that? Like, why is there such a hesitancy on this? I don't understand.
You know, and then the next film that does what you just said will be groundbreaking and visually impressive. You know what I mean? They'll be the new trendsetter. It's like
it'll probably win an Oscar or something for special effects or something or art direction. Like, yeah, like I don't get it. But I had not commented on this at all on social media, and this is the kind of thing where I would immediately comment on this on the RGL Facebook page, because every time anything Motu happens, I'm usually the first one running like I hate it or I love it. Like, you know, I'm
gonna have to watch it again with your perspective sort of downloaded into my brain and look at it and go,
I'm willing to be proven wrong about this. Like, guys, I'm gonna go watch the movie because I fucking love He-Man. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm just hoping they don't fuck it up. I'm hoping. I don't like that any of it takes place on Earth to begin with, but I'm willing to let that slide if it's basically just a piece of the first act, which is from the trailer. That's the vibe I get. Like, it starts with Adam on Earth and like he touches the sword, some beacon goes off on Eternia. Then Teal and Man-at-Arms are like running to get there to beat Skeletor to it because Skeletor is trying to get the sword. And like they've got to go in there and rescue him and bring him back to Eternia. So like if that's like a little piece of the first act and then the second and third act are all Eternia, cool. Then it's like the exact opposite of the last time they tried to do this. We're like the beginning, the very beginning and the very end were on Eternia, and the rest of the movie was all on Earth. Even as a kid, I was like, dude, that's lame. Like, no, I want to see He-Man on Eternia fighting Skeletor. I don't want to see him on fucking Earth. Like, that's stupid. So for the record, I do love the original Master of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren. Like, it's a good movie, and I think if it was called anything besides Master of the Universe, it would probably be deemed like a classic. I think it's a good movie.
Who was like that little wizard dude with that
Gwildor?
And it was like it's almost like they were trying to push a toy line. You know what I mean? Like if that movie was like a He-Man origin story movie.
Yes.
And shout out to like 1985 Skeletor costume. That was really good for back then. You know,
I know. 1987 to be exact. Sorry,
Gwildor,
I got to keep this honest.
1987, of course.
But that was one of the things that I loved about the Netflix version is that Gwildor is officially part of the lexicon, and you got to see him and Orko argue. I was like, okay, this is kind of awesome, actually. Like that, I was like, all right. And the fucking pink Cadillac was in the background at Gwildor's hanging. I was like, bro. I was like, you realize what this means? I'm like, in the fucking timeline of this, that means the movie actually happened. I was like, that's kind of awesome, actually. Like
it
sucks, but it's kind of awesome. Like I kind of dig the fan service on that. So guys, that is my take on it. I am very cautiously optimistic. I want it to be good, guys. No one, pun intended, in the universe wants this to be better than me. I want this to succeed. I want 5 more fucking He-Man movies. And I want the guy to get more jacked like Chris Hemsworth did, where he's like kind of jacked in Thor Part 1 and he's like super jacked in Part 2. Great. Like if that's the case, I can already tell you how I want the movie to end. Skeletor's fucking vanquished. Stinger at the end, man. The fucking ships come over Eternia. It looks like the fucking Horde and shit. And Despora shows up, and we all know who Despora is. It's fucking She-Ra before she gets woken up by Adam. Like, dude, boom, off to the sequel. He's fighting fucking Hordak, the only person that Skeletor is afraid of. There, I've just given them the fucking franchise. You do that, guarantee this thing is going to kill at the box office. They should be paying me to do this shit. So we'll wrap up Motu on that one, man. Like, again, cautiously optimistic. I'm going to go see the movie for all the diehards. All right. So since you mentioned a short boot Skeletor, okay. Chris, I am such a diehard that right here, about 1 foot in front of my arm, I have a Wonder Bread He-Man.
Nice.
The rarest action figure in the world. It is the most I have ever paid for any video game, toy, anything. It's the only time I had to touch 4 figures to get something. And I wouldn't trade it for the fucking world. It's been officially authenticated. It's the real deal. All my other figures in there are loose. That one is in a bulletproof acrylic case by itself.
Yeah, right.
So
that's an asset. It's an investment.
that one was packed differently when I moved. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
like the outer box was labeled not just Motu stuff because I had several boxes, but like Motu Wondar, so that I knew which one it was. It was one of the first things I unpacked. I'm like, no, we're putting him away. I'm not losing this shit. So wrap up Motu. All right. And we'll close out with one final thing, since, you know, we do like retro games. Obviously, look at Chris's shit, look at my shit. Obviously, that's part of us. All right. So I found out something interesting today, guys, and I'm gonna roast Chris just a little bit on this. Not too much, just a little, just because I think it's so funny. So Chris is the only gamer of his generation that I've ever heard say that he's not a fan of Resident Evil. I am not kidding when I am saying I've never heard a single other dude from our general dynamic that has ever said that. It doesn't make his opinion wrong. It's just I made it all the way to 46 without running into that once. So you explained a little bit of it to me. Explain it to the audience. Like, what is your beef with Resident Evil?
Well, I don't really have a beef with Resident Evil.
Yes, you do.
Per se.
You fascist.
So yeah. There's Alex Jones. Who's gonna help fight CM Retro against the liberals, and he's never played Resident Evil.
See, Legs is already stepping in. Who in the hell doesn't like Resident Evil?
All
right, Charlotte, you be quiet.
It's just a franchise that I've never put any time into, and I never just never got into it. There's just franchises that as you're a gamer, right? How can I say this? It just doesn't resonate with me. Bonk's Adventure doesn't resonate with me. Bomberman doesn't resonate with me.
What?
Resident Evil's not like my jam. I like games like Contra, Ninja Gaiden, spaceship shooters. That's like the majority, the bulk of what I play. Even when I had a PlayStation, I was in the military at the time over in Japan, and you get those demo discs. It's like I don't like turn-based RPGs. I like Einhander, man. Give me something fast. Things blow up real good. Give me something like Pandemonium or Ninja Gaiden. I just finished Ninja Gaiden Ragebound today. Games like that. That's really what I like to play. I very few and far between will get away from those genres, maybe a puzzle game or something, but Resident Evil just never resonated with me. I played 4. I tried to play 4 on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
They update the remaster or whatever.
Yep.
And I don't really like the way it controls. I understand that the gimmick is that you're working with a limited inventory and there's some management aspects to it. Right? I get what Resident Evil is about, but I just sort of see it as, and I've seen all the movies, but I just sort of kind of see it as another zombie game, and it just sort of played out a little bit. Last of Us is a zombie game as well. Technically not a zombie, but it's that same style. And I love The Last of Us, but I just don't
like Resident Evil
or any real survival horror games. I just don't like that's not how the gore and the grotesque stuff is not how I choose to participate in horror. I think here's the most terrifying person in a movie to me. Anton Chigurh from No Country for old men.
Okay.
Because that dude in the 1980s could have literally existed. Like he could have been an actual person. You know, that's terrifying. But you know, Resident Evil, it just I don't know. It just like I said, it's a franchise that never resonated with me. And I'm sure you have some of those franchises as well.
Okay. I was willing to forgive Resident Evil, bro, but you crossed the fucking line with Bomberman. I think this might be the last episode of this fucking podcast. Because of all the stuff in this room,
Yeah.
there is one singular franchise that has its own, I would say, shrine where all of the games, I don't have them scattered throughout the Nintendo collection, the PlayStation. No, all of these, and there are a lot of Bomberman games,
Mhm.
are all together on a little kiosk at the front of the lounge. Bomberman is my favorite franchise ever.
Oh, nice.
Because I look forward to teaching my son how to play this because it's a game of strategy. Like it's basically like playing chess. Like you got to think 2 moves ahead of your opponent, etc. And anybody can play it. Like it's accessible to anybody. So, and they're still making them. And dude, it's the reason I bought a fucking Switch. Like everyone was like, bro, fucking like, you know, Breath of the Wild. I was like, yeah, and Super Bomberman R. Fuck Zelda. Like, I'm a Zelda fan, but I was like, dude, Nintendo's bringing back a Bomberman game, and they're bringing back a new, see, there you go, a Super Bomberman game, which was the best segment of the franchise. I was like, dude, I wasn't going to buy a Switch before, but now I fucking am. The entire first day, I didn't even touch Breath of the Wild. I was like, fucking, I'm playing Bomberman the whole time. I've been waiting for this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I like in that one though, because I beat that game. I like that you can like unlock like wrestlers like the New Day or like the ship from the Gradius ship. I was Vic Viper, you know, the Vic Viper
yes,
from
the
Gradius.
Big Viper.
You know, and you can sort of unlock those things. So that made it kind of fun. But yeah, it's just not, you know, and I don't want people to confuse that I'm saying that I don't like which is not good, because those are 2 completely different things, you know.
No, I got it, man. I got it.
Game franchises that don't resonate with you, you know.
All right, so
Definitely
let me comment on some of the things you said. I completely understand your opinion. Thank you for articulating it. It's the totally wrong opinion, but that's okay. I didn't ask you to be on this podcast because you were perfect, Chris. It's okay. It's all right.
Well, thank you.
You're a human. It's okay.
Very
so all right. So I try. All right. So what you were saying about zombie games being played out, I actually agree with that. I do. It is very hard to make a zombie game now and it be not played out, original, and good. It's kind of like making a really good horror movie now. Like it is possible to make one, but dude, it is so hard to scare people now because it's been done so many times. Like for the very, very few talented people who do something really cool and innovative, it's still possible, but it's very rare. That is kind of how I feel about the new Resident Evil game. So give me the floor and let me qualify this, because I'm going to address it with some of the points you made. No, they're valid criticisms, dude. Okay. So why I think you should give the new one a chance. Hear me out. Okay. So Resident Evil has had a lot of ups and downs. It is one of the biggest franchises in the world. It is quite literally the original zombie game franchise. Like it's everything that we play now owes something to Resident Evil as far as zombies. Like that was like, I mean, were there technically, you know, zombies and Zombies 8 maneuvers? Yes, but was it like a George Romero type zombie? Like, no, dude. The first Resident Evil game started that. Like it's the reason it's part of our cultural identity. That franchise coined that shit. So there's the fan base for it is very fickle, I guess is the word that I would use. I'll call out one of my buddies, one longtime fan, personal friend of mine, Shifty Capone, who's been following me for a while now. One of the biggest Resident Evil dorks I know. Like he and I can talk about that shit all day. And there are many games in the franchise that he fucking can't stand. Like Shifty is a very, very direct guy, very opinionated. If he doesn't like something, he will tell you it fucking sucks. But when he loves something, he loves it to his fucking core. He's just one extreme or the other. And that's what I love about him. And like a lot of fans have been praising the last two games, part 7 and part 8, because they completely detached from like we'll call the main timeline, where, the Chris Redfield, the Leon Kennedy timeline, like that pretty much ended with game 6, at least until recently, because the last two games have been like a massive departure from that. Like they're kind of connected to the original timeline, like sort of, because Chris Redfield shows up in the end of part 7 and in part 8, but we don't know exactly where they fit because Chris looks older. So it's like, it's kind of connected, but not really, in my opinion. I'm sure some dork in the comments is going to correct, like, no, this is where it fits in. Okay, great. But to a regular fan like me, it's like, I don't know where this fits. Like, for the record, I'm not shitting on part 7 and part 8. I think they're both great games. They're not my favorite Resident Evil games because they're not the characters that I've invested time into following the stories of. Like, they're not the characters from the previous games. So it's like, I'm watching this like I'm watching seasons of a television show. Like, I'm invested in the characters and I want to see what happens next. That being said, Resident Evil 7 is the scariest fucking game I've ever played in my entire life. And not because of jump scares. Like, the ambiance of that game fucking terrified me. And this is 7 games into the franchise, and I'm like 40 when this comes out. Like, I've played scary games before. Like, I'm definitely a hard guy to scare. I'm a fucking horror nerd, bro. Like, I am so desensitized to that stuff. It's really hard to rattle me. That game gave me genuine fucking anxiety when I was playing that. Like, I've never felt anything like that when I was playing a game. I was like white knuckle fucking terror. Because of the Big Daddy character who's like following you around the house in this really kind of menacing fashion. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I'm fucking like shouting at the goddamn television. I'm so on fire for this shit. And it was kind of cool to see like kind of a self-contained story that was outside of the rest of them. Like, it's very different from the other games. So how does that tie into the new one? Okay. The new one is kind of like, all right, this year is the 30th anniversary of the franchise. It'll be in March, I think, is when the original one came out. So 30 years. I think this is probably the greatest masterstroke move that Capcom has ever done in the history of their company, because this is the 9th game. We're almost, there's more. This is 9 in the main line story, but there's more Resident Evil games than that. There's like 13 or 14 Resident Evil games. Like, if you count Revelations and everything, there's more than that. But 9 in the main story. And they're basically bringing it back to the same type of game that made them what it is, made the franchise what it is. Meaning, they're like, our objective of this game is to scare the shit out of you. Like, that's really what we're trying to do. So I'm not sure how much you do or don't know about it, Chris, but essentially what we've learned is like there's 2 main characters in this, which I think is great because the original had 2 main characters. And you're kind of weaving in and out of both of them, but the play style is very, very different between both of them. So Leon Kennedy, who's been in 2, 4, and 6, he's been in more than any other Resident Evil character. I would say probably the fan favorite, even though you weren't a fan of 4. Like, that's, most people, the people who love Resident Evil consider 4 like the benchmark. Like, this is what all the other games have to live up to.
Yeah, that's why I tried it, because it came so highly recommended. And I think the first part, there's like you're like outside, but it's like a little town, and you like. Yep. And I got past that, and I didn't really get much further, so I just gave up.
Give it a chance. I'm telling you, give it a chance. There's a lot of layers to the game. It's a really good story. It's really well written. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of exploration. Like, there's a lot of everything, especially the remake. Like, that's like the chef's kiss remake, because they took everything that was great about the original and they just dialed it up, because that's really all anyone wants them to do. It's like, just keep what made this game special and turn it up. So back to Resident Evil 9. So the Leon Kennedy segments, it's playing more like an action game because that's what fans expect. Like, we don't want to see a ton of ambiance or jump scares or anything, like maybe a few, whatever, because it's still a survival horror game. But what we want to see is Leon Kennedy kicking fucking ass, like, because that's what he does. We want to see him fucking putting the boots to the undead. And based on what I've seen in the trailer, like the combat system, dude, he's fucking straight up John Wick in this game. Like this dude is like fucking peak form, bad motherfucker. And I'm like, I'm here for this. Like I was interested when we just found out about the girl Grace being the main character. I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And then they reveal Leon's in the game. I was like, fuck you, take my money. Like I am so invested now. So their stories are kind of interweaving. They're, as I understand, they're basically locked in this kind of, I don't know if it's an asylum or something, but it's some kind of building. You know, the gates come down, they can't leave. So this is like the umpteenth time Leon's dealt with this. So he's a fucking professional at like dispatching these things. So he's just like, I'm ready. Let's go. So the girl Grace, her stuff is all about atmosphere, mood, and essentially what Capcom is calling addictive fear. That's their words, not mine. Grace's thing is more about like really scaring the bejesus out of you because she's not Leon. She doesn't have the training. She doesn't have the equipment. She doesn't have the ammo supply. Like she's not an expert at dealing with this. She's a normal person who's scared to fucking death. You know, she's never been in this situation before. So she reacts the way a normal person would react, where she's fucking terrified. And when they show the different gameplay segments and you see the contrast of how different they play, like Leon's is all about like, here they come, let's fucking go. Like gun to the head, whipping them around with fucking ankle kicks and shit, man, and just like kicking their head against the wall and shit, like straight up John Wick style shit. So, and then you get over to Grace, things slow down. She moves a lot slower. She has to be more stealthy and everything. She doesn't have as much ammunition. She's got to creep in and out of things where you're like super high tension kind of stuff. And as I understand it, you kind of weave in and out between them. Like it's not a separate, you know, on the original, a separate disc where you're playing like Chris's story. Then the next disc, you're playing Jill's story. This is more, you're kind of doing both as the story weaves in and out. And the gore, yes, they've ratcheted up in this one, man. I mean, it is a Resident Evil game. That's kind of what we expect. And they, from what I can tell, they did not disappoint in this one, man. It's up to a whole different fucking level, and that's cool. But I think this one is going to be known like 10 years from now as the entry point to the franchise for a lot of younger gamers. I think they're going to discover it through this one, and they're going to be like, holy shit, there's more to this. Like, oh yeah, like there's 30 years worth of games, you know, behind this. I think this one is going to be held in the same regard by the fans as like part 4, where it's going to be like, this is the new benchmark.
Okay.
Like you have to live up to this. Like this is no regular Resident Evil game. And I think the reason they're doing that is because the last mainline entry, part 6, which I think gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I understand the criticism. They were like, it's too actiony. They call it like, what do they call it? Residents of Duty or something. Cause it's like, they say it plays like Call of Duty. I don't agree with that, but I understand why they think it's a departure from the franchise, because it is. I've actually been playing it recently. I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of enjoy this game. It's cool. It has co-op. Like I can play it with a buddy. There's 4 different campaigns that kind of weave in and out of each other, like the characters running into each other, and it has more of the characters than any of the other games. So I think Capcom knew what was at stake on this and was like, look, we cannot repeat part 6 because even though it sold really well, like that really pissed the fans off. So if we're going to introduce like a mainline character, like a Leon Kennedy, like they can't hide behind the remake tapestry of like, oh, it's just a remake. You know, this is a new game in the franchise. And Leon's in his 50s now. He's like 52 years old in the lexicon. So they knew that like, all right, we got to get back to what made this franchise great. And I haven't played the game yet. It comes out in 2 weeks, I think. But as far as I can tell, they understood the assignment. Like they put their best guys on this and it shows. So I think you might want to give this one a shot because this one is not the rule. This one is like, we want to do something special with this one. Really special.
Yeah. I posted in the chat, one of my daughter's gaming goals is to play through a Resident Evil game this year. So I thought that we would do that maybe together.
There you go.
You know, get a little, maybe take on 4, or one of the easier ones because, you know, she's only 18. But I've got plenty of games from the franchise, so it's not like I've got. Is there a light gun game on PlayStation 1? I have that one.
Yes,
I have like
Dead Aim.
Resi 2 on PS1 and N64.
Then I would recommend either Part 5 or Part 6 if you're going to play with your daughter, because it's co-op.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Let me write that down. I definitely have 5 or 6 because I've got one for the 360. So
yeah, they both of them, both 5 and 6 have been updated for newer consoles. So like I have them for Xbox One, where they pumped it up a little bit, so it's got higher frame rate, looks a little more polished. So it's not an actual remake; it's just like up-res, basically, of the original 360/PS3 game. But that to me is the definitive version because it comes with all the DLC. There's an extra campaign and etc. And so I think you would both enjoy that. It's very actiony. Like Part 5 is action, but it's the enemies that come after you are still, in my opinion, like terrifying. Like when they come for you, like the things that they're saying and shit, and they're coming around you like a goddamn horde. It's still fun. I played through 5 recently, and it gets a lot of shit. It was the best. It's still today the best-selling game in the franchise history. So even what is it, 20 years ago or so that game came out, it is still the record holder for the highest-selling Resident Evil game. I like Part 5. I think it's a great story. I hope apparently they're going to remake it like they're remaking all the other ones. I hope they do. They're remaking Code Veronica, which to me that should have been at the top of the list because that was the one that did not live up to its potential because it came out on the Dreamcast, and I like the original one for the record. It's one of the reasons I bought a Dreamcast. But when you play it now, it's definitely dated. Like it could use an update. So I'm looking forward to that one. They're redoing Resident Evil 0 again. I liked it. Had it originally for the GameCube. Like it's a good game. I think instead of the Zap system where you change characters, just make it co-op. And I think they could just like good bones. Just the execution fell a tiny bit short of its potential. I think they could redo it and make it better. So I'm gonna turn you over to the fucking dark side, bro. I'm gonna work on you. Let me tell you, I'm gonna make you at least a low level but selective Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, low key.
Like you're not gonna be a super nerd like me, but I think there's so many different games in that franchise, dude. I find it's like I treat it like beer. Like the people like I don't like beer, dude. There are so many different kinds of fucking beer. You can't find one that you like. Seriously, one. Like that's the way I see Resident Evil. There's so many different flavors of game in that franchise. It's like you can't, if you're a gamer, you can't find one that you like.
Yeah,
there's got to be at
on
least
my list of. I have a list of games that I've never beaten one game in that franchise, and it's like Resident Evil's on there. I don't really play first person shooters, so I put Call of Duty on there because or like the campaigns on those are like 5 or 6 hours or something like that because the show's online. The online multiplayer stuff, which I don't do. Yeah, so it's definitely on there.
Give it a shot, my man. I'll tell you what. I'm going to be live streaming it as soon as the game comes out.
Nice.
Stop by RGL, give it a shot. Like I'll give you, you'll get to kind of sit in the chair next to me and you'll have like a professional, like kind of commenting and critiquing on it as I'm playing it. Like I'll catch the Easter eggs as best I can and everything. Give you a little behind the scenes commentary on it. I think there's more layers to this than you think there is because it's.
Well, no, I understand. It's a huge franchise with a lot of lore and a lot of story and a lot of things going on in the games. And like any other franchise, you're gonna put some things in 5 that maybe happened in 2 or 3, to fulfill that fan service, or maybe just do a callback, or maybe it fits with what's going on in the game. Like I totally understand that Resident Evil is awesome. It's just not something that I've played. You know what I mean?
I got you, brother. I got you. So, since you're not a super fan, I'll let you in on something. So something very significant happened with this that has to deal with the main character, Grace. So there's 2 games in the franchise history that are definitely seen as kind of cult favorites, but very divisive among the community. That would be Resident Evil Outbreak and Resident Evil Outbreak File 2 that were on the PlayStation 2.
Yep, I have those.
Very early multiplayer games. The first Resident Evil multiplayer games, actually. Very ahead of their time, in my opinion. And I think that's why ultimately they didn't work kind of the way that Capcom was hoping they would. Mainly because they were pretty limited by the PlayStation 2's online capabilities. I think if this came out on like the PS3 and the Xbox 360, those games would be like stone cold classics. So I think they were like one generation ahead of their time. So the reason I mention this, Grace is the daughter of one of the characters in Resident Evil Outbreak. And why that's significant, those two games have never been mentioned at all in any other Resident Evil game. So that means her mere existence means that Capcom has officially declared that Outbreak are part of the official timeline. So they are in the canon now. Like, I know to you, you're like, okay, but to like fans are like, oh my God, they're actually like acknowledging Outbreak. It's like acknowledging a bastard kid. You know, it's like we thought that Capcom was just going to dismiss them as like, yeah, it was a really cool idea, but yeah, we want you to forget about those things. But no, they're basically saying, no, it's part of the timeline. And it's kind of led to some theories of like, dude, are they going to remake Outbreak? I hope so. Because if you did that on modern consoles with modern like multiplayer capabilities where you're not handcuffed by the PS2, that could really be something cool because of the onus of the way Outbreak works, because it's the only Resident Evil games that take place during the incident in Raccoon City, like while it's happening. You know, the rest of them have been either before or after, like the shit went down. But those two are like literally moment to moment, like when the shit's hitting the fan, which in my opinion is what makes them unique, where it's like you get to see the city literally fucking fall apart. I would love to see those updated. Like, I want Capcom to keep redoing every fucking Resident Evil game. I want them to redo part 1, even though they've already done that. As a collector, I love looking at my Xbox shelf for Xbox One, like, and basically up to Series X. And if they keep doing the remakes, I'm going to have every single game in the franchise on one console. We're almost there because they keep doing the remakes. Like, I have 2, I have 3 now. Mm-hmm. They redid 4. I've got the mainline games. I've got these new games. If they keep remaking them, then I would literally have one console that will play every single Resident Evil game in the main timeline ever. Like, as a collector, I'm like, yes, give it to me. Like, you know, just pour it all over me, man. I'm fucking begging for it. So I want them to do that, and I want it to stay with this generation just so I can have all those, and one day I can show my kid, like, dude, this is the Resident Evil franchise. It's one of the greatest gaming franchises in history, and you can play it all on this console. I love that. Like, that tickles my collector itch big time. So, ladies and gents, I think I'm about good at wrapping it up on that. And thank you guys for lightly but politely roasting Chris in the comments about Resident Evil. I kind of knew that was going to happen. So I was like, I mentioned before, I'm like, dude, you're the only person I've heard say that. It's like, this is why. it's like yelling you're conservative at a liberal protest. Like, bro, don't do it. Just don't do it.
I should have lied. Oh yeah, I'm an Uber fan. Yes. Got a tattoo. I'm not going to show it to you. Just gotta.
These people are rabid.
In a naughty spot.
Resident Evil fans are a very loyal type, to say the very least. They're very, very rabid fan base. But no, dude, it's all good. It's cool. No, I want this to continue because then I get to have the conversation with you. Hopefully, if we can find one that you like, it's like getting to talk to someone who's never played something before. It's like, bro, like I get to experience it like vicariously through you. Like, I wish I could forget everything I know about the franchise and go and play it again and be impressed, but I can't because I don't have Alzheimer's. So it's, you know, not that I want it or anything, but this is cool. Like, I'm accepting this as a challenge, and I'm expecting you to do the same for me. There's stuff that I don't understand. Like, I'll give you one. We'll close it out with this. I don't understand Final Fantasy. I don't get it. It's never made sense to me. I don't understand turn-based, and I have played them before. I played both Breath of Fire games. Like, I understand how they work, but I don't understand why they get the hype that they do. I'm not saying they're bad. It's just like it doesn't click up here for some reason.
Yeah, it's just not like. So a couple years ago, I tried to do turn based. So I did Mystic Quest, right? Like very easy, baby's first RPG type thing, and I really liked it. I thought it was good because the focus is like on the story and like slow progression as opposed to here's a wall, grind until you get to this level, and now we can. And then and I liked it. And then the next year, I played Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo. Again, loved it. Baby's first RPG kind of thing. But one of my bucket list games is Final Fantasy VII, and it's like that slow paced wait for them to hit you. Then like it's just not something that I respond well to. Like I would rather beat my head and try and figure out a boss for 3 hours, like I did today in Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Like I find that more rewarding.
I'm with you on that one.
So I don't know. Maybe a topic for another time. If you guys have topics that you want us to bring up or talk about, leave it on the Retro Game Lounge Facebook page or comment down below. I got a couple ideas, that we could do, like top threes.
Absolutely, dude. I love doing top
that
lists.
The fans could say, "What's your top 3 favorite ice creams?" or your top 3 Bond girls or something like that. You know what I mean? And we could do that, but that'll be tons of fun. But it's a really awesome show.
Fantastic
being here. This was a good kickoff, I think. Soft kickoff, as they would say.
I think so. Well, I hope everyone joining us. Let's see, Legs, Frankie, Showett, the usual rogues gallery here on my side. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with us and keeping the peanut gallery occupied. We really appreciate that. Chris and I are going to try and do this on a weekly basis. Stay tuned to the Retro Game Lunch Facebook page for the schedule on that. It'll probably be like Fridays, Saturdays seem to work most of the time for both of us, so we'll probably keep that momentum going right around the same time. So again, thank you everyone so much, Chris. It was good to finally do this, man. Like, thanks for sticking this out with me. I'm very, very proud of this, and I'm looking forward to keeping this going. And honestly, I'm looking forward to our first haters. Like, I'm kind of disappointed that we don't have any yet. So I'm fucking welcoming that shit. So, but we'll see what happens, I guess. But everyone out there, you guys have a really good night, and we will catch you later. And you can just enjoy the outro.
Yeah.